Happy birthday, 2023! Woo! Happy birthday, RageSelect Podcast. The RageSelect Podcast is turning like 10 this year.
This is the 10th year.
So happy birthday, New Year. That's what I'm going to start saying instead of Happy New Year. I'm going to make it really awkward. Happy birthday, year.
You weirdo.
You weirdo. Happy birthday, RageSelect Podcast. Happy birthday, Michael.
Yes.
Look, I have that in there too. I had all the birthdays.
I'm not a New Year's baby per se, but I'm pretty close.
Yeah. It's Michael's birthday, and I got you a present. It's the RageSelect Podcast.
It's a non-refundable gift, isn't it?
It's as good as being told you have to work on your birthday. No, we're actually recording this many days before your birthday. Your birthday's on Monday?
Yes, it is actually the day after this will post.
But most people listen on Monday,
That's
so I'd be
true.
willing to bet you're going to get
true,
a lot
actually.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Go to Michael's Twitter and tell him happy birthday
that's
today.
right, yes.
Or do it in the Discord if you're a patron of RageSelect. But yes, it's a new year. It's it's the same Jeff. I haven't... Actually, I'll be honest. I don't want to get into specifics. Well, Michael dies, but he's just choking.
The water went down the wrong pipe.
Happy birthday! I got you watering your lungs.
I died just before my birthday. The end.
No, I had a terrible holiday, and I don't want to bring that energy in. I just had
The holiday wasn't that terrible.
Dumb shit happened, so I'm really happy to be back to just like regular schmegular. Like doing videos, doing podcasts, reading about Microsoft acquisitions and Square Enix NFTs. Like it's just like, oh, it's like putting on your favorite T-shirt. Like there it is. It's so comfortable. I broke it in after all these years. So yeah, we're back. We got less news than I would have thought for being gone for like a month or like 3 weeks or something.
Well, it turns out the world decided to just not do anything stupid for a while. And then it decided to do all the stupid things at once. Yeah, which I thought was interesting.
That doesn't sound like the gaming world.
That's why it's surprising.
Anyway, are you doing anything special for your birthday? Are you buying yourself a full sized afterburner cabinet?
No, nothing super massive. Usually what I do, because I've been doing this for a long time at this point, is because I don't usually do anything because most people had just gotten off from holidays and stuff, and usually they don't want to do anything normally. But I originally considered doing something this year, but then I just forgot, basically.
Okay.
Because
2022 kind of was a weird shit show.
Well, it's because I had a lot of stuff on my mind towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which made it kind of tricky. Part of it is the new stuff I'm doing now, which is I'm writing for the BellofLostSouls.net.
Go check it out.
I just finished my first week of articles, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
it's not something I was prepared for. I was prepared for it, but not as well as I thought. But it's only because I made very bad decisions the first week doing it in my other duties.
So wait a minute. Well, first off, you can't use the word duties and not expect me to laugh like a child.
It's true.
But also, are you telling me that this new shift into Michael Riojas newsman, fucking from the Daily Planet, Clark Kent over here, that I can't enlist you to just now do all this RageSelect horse shit for me, since you're going to be looking at the news anyway? It takes me hours to get this shit together.
Well, now I got to write about them, and so I look at them, but it's harder to do. But what happened was that I stretched myself to then, because I did this RageSelect, and then I also did One of Us at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was a bad idea. Because it turns out I'm not actually super bad.
Oh.
So I can't stretch myself out that much.
Okay, so that's 2 down. Last year we found out you're not Hideo Kojima, you're not you're not Jeff Keighley.
No.
And you're not Superman. Okay.
Well, I thought I accused you of being Jeff Keighley, didn't I?
No. Or wait, you were not Hideo Kojima. Well, something happened last year.
The Kojima one, I remember that happened.
Okay, yeah.
But
something happened.
But yeah, I stretched myself pretty thin on that one. So I didn't think about planning anything. But over the years, since I don't usually do anything with people normally, let's begin with, is that I go to a comic book shop. The past few years I've been going to Randy's.
Okay.
Specifically, I buy a comic, I buy a pizza, and then I just relax.
Okay.
For the rest of the day. Usually.
Wait, one comic?
It depends.
Okay.
It used to be one comic because at the time I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now I actually have money. So the past few times I've bought like 3 or 4. And so it's a little tricky.
Well, back when I used to make, back in the 90s, when I used to make a fairly obscene amount of money every week, I would go down to Austin Books and buy like $150 worth of comics, and then I would stop and get like this chain in town that isn't really around anymore that sells like these like super Chicago deep dish pizzas, and so I just get like a large one and then just bring it home, and I just spend the entire day just like maybe one slice of pizza. I'm gonna read comics for like an hour. I'm gonna get another slice. I'm gonna do that. Just whole day, comics and pizza.
Yeah, that used to be my. Sorry, that used to. It still is my fairly birthday thing, to the point where the last time I went, Randy's like, "It's your birthday today, isn't it?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yep."
Oh, there you go.
So I'm here to buy the Superman or the Spider-Man or whatever.
Well, let's see. We've got a shitload of news, but we do have a little bit of time. Let's see. I watched so much and played a lot. Actually, I ended up playing a lot of Fortnite over the winter break, just because, again, you can
Shocking still.
you could do a match in 15 minutes, right?
Yes.
Like I wanted to go back to Midnight Suns, but every time I went to go load up Midnight Suns, I had that anxiety of just like, well, this is going to require like 4 hours out of my life, as opposed to like I just play one match of Fortnite and then just go do whatever I want.
Yeah, I actually finished Midnight Suns
what'd you
over
think?
the winter break. Oh, I loved it.
Thumbs up.
No, absolutely. My only issue is the game is kind of anticlimactic at the end, because it's like the ending is one of those endings where it's like, and then maybe something might happen afterwards. Who knows? It's like I don't really feel comfortable with just like that being the ending. Like, I wanted some closure. It just sort of ends.
Okay.
And then
Do you like movies with ambiguous endings?
I'm fine with it as long as I know something's going to happen afterwards. The problem is that with movies, the time frame for waiting isn't as long than it is with games.
Wait, when you say something's going to happen, like there's going to be a sequel or something?
Yeah, because it ends with that sort of like idea of like, and then this person showed up kind of thing. Like it's like one of those. It's like an after
like Princess
credit.
Peach at the end of Super Mario Brothers the movie, when she comes back and says,
Yeah.
"You guys got to come with me. You don't believe what's happening back there."
It's exactly that.
Okay.
And then the other thing is I was very caught off guard by the end game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you guys this now. Only it's not a spoiler per se, but what happens is that the game decides in the final battle that, hey, these 4 specific people are your bestest friends in the entire game, so they're going to be here for you. And I'm like, why the fuck is Doctor Strange? That motherfucker can't fight worth a damn, and he's the only one of the 4 that went down in the entire fight.
Yeah, like can I cash in Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I'm like, could you leave? Could you call like Captain America
Could you
down
give
here?
me like Ghost Rider with 5 fewer levels than he has, or like something?
Like literally anyone else would be cool. I would take Nico, her fucking weird ass, over Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
because at least she can heal herself.
That is true. That is true. But
you enjoyed it
You enjoyed it overall.
Yes, overall I thought it was amazing. The writing's really good. All of the character interactions are fucking amazing.
Okay.
It's like the best thing about the entire game. And the best thing about that specific thing is that, unlike Persona, you can just ignore things and just keep doing things for days and days on end. You don't have to be like, and then you had to go to this place on Monday and Friday, or else this thing would go away.
Right.
It would be like a guy going, hey, you want to do book club tonight? And it'd be like a month later because you just keep doing missions.
Sure.
And then you'd be like, tonight's cool, and they wouldn't be mad at you for it.
Let's see. I watched a whole bunch of movies and TV shows over the break. I don't think I'm going to mention any Christmas ones outside of
a lot of Christmas stuff, probably.
I watched A Christmas Story Christmas. That was good. I watched Pinocchio, which it wasn't a Christmas movie, but I
Guillermo
liked
del Toro one.
Yeah, the Guillermo del Toro one.
He didn't watch the Pauly Shore one.
But no, wait, hold on. Dude, okay. If you guys, I got, okay, hot tip tangent, Jeff's hot tips coming at you. Pew, 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 laser noise. If you want, because we have a trailer for Lies of P, right? And I was like,
oh, that's right.
And I looked at, I was thinking about it. I was watching this Pinocchio, Lies of P, and I was like, is there enough like story in Pinocchio to like fill in Liza, this bloodborne thing with like details? Because I'm thinking back to the story and I'm just like, okay, Geppetto, Pinocchio, Blue Fairy, Jimmy Cricket, the circus. I get turned to Real Boy. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? So I popped up on my phone and I pulled up the Wikipedia article for the original Pinocchio story, like the one that was written. That shit is berserk. Like, you should go read the synopsis of Pinocchio. So much shit happens, and it's like one of those old ass fairy tales where it's like Then a cat and a fox tried to rob Pinocchio of the coins that he found in the forest, and so he bit off the cat's foot and like ran away. And then like in the Disney movie when he gets turned into the donkey. Okay, so in the book he actually gets turned all the way into a donkey, but then like he gets sold to a really abusive. Or no, he gets sold to a farmer that's going to skin the donkey to make like leather. And then he misbehaves, and the farmer beats him so hard that it beats the donkey skin off of him, and he turns back into Pinocchio.
Oh my god!
And that's just like I was just reading, like, oh my god,
that's a real thing. Apparently,
I would love to watch this horrible shit. Like,
well, that's the thing that everyone forgets about is the old like fairy tales are very, very insane.
Yeah,
like the original version of Rapunzel, the prince guy gets his fucking eyes essentially stabbed out and thrown into a thing of vines where he wanders blind for a while.
A lot
of crazy shit.
I just like you should go check it out. You know the craziest thing about the original Pinocchio story? I don't consider this a spoiler because the story's been around since like the 1600s or some bullshit like that. Like the guy that runs the circus that is like, the No Strings on Me, like the guy that runs the circus, who's generally a bad guy. Like in the story, apparently it's like Pinocchio argues with some puppets, and like then the circus guy beats up the puppets, and Pinocchio's like, oh no, I'm sorry, sir, please let me go back home. And the guy's like, okay, here's some money, go get a train, leave. Like he doesn't try to like enslave him or anything. He's just like, just go, just get out of here, you don't belong to me, you're just as weird. And a lot of people try to eat Pinocchio in the story, and I'm like, he's wood, man, like what are you doing?
That's the funniest thing is that there's a lot of stories where they're like, and then they tried to eat said protagonist.
Right.
It's like, why are there so many of these stories that involve somebody almost getting eaten?
But the thing is that like Hansel and Gretel are made out of meat. Pinocchio's wood. Like you can go eat a tree if you're into that. Like,
it makes sense, why they would get eaten, and why not Gretel, what was her name? Goldilocks may get eaten.
Right.
But like it doesn't make any sense for him to get eaten.
Yeah.
Why would anyone?
Anyway, to finish up,
I could understand using him for like firewood or something.
Yeah.
But just tell him to lie a bunch of times and snap his nose off for that.
When he only tells a lie once in the synopsis that I read, and he does it right in front of in the story. It's the like blue-haired fairy, like it's just a lady with blue hair, and his nose grows, and then she like calls a bunch of woodpeckers from the forest to come in and fucking whittle it back down to the right size, and I'm just like, what is happening?
That's fucking strange.
Go read the Wikipedia article for Pinocchio. It's fucking nuts. But I don't want to hold us up because we do have a lot of news, and we're almost out of time. But I did want to say, of all the movies and all the TV shows and all the stuff that I watched, I probably enjoyed Knives Out, Glass Onion the most.
Yes.
It was one of the most enjoyable movies that I saw last year, and I did actually watch a fair number of movies and TV shows and stuff like that. I think if you like the first one, it's a different vibe. It's a whole different vibe.
Oh, 100%. It's more straight comedy than it is like a crazy political mystery.
Yeah.
I feel like the first one was.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's very interesting. I think one of my favorite parts about it is there's a lot of stuff that I feel like you just kind of gloss over and forget about at the end. Like when they all first show up and they're going to go to the island and Ethan Hawke shows up and does what he does.
Yeah.
And then everybody's just like, just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. And you're like, wait, hold on a second.
You're like, what was that for? Like, you expect it to come back, but it never does.
Nope. It's just like
them explaining why they don't wear masks on the island.
Yep. It's like, it's really interesting. Anyway, I actually totally think that Glass Onion is worth at least signing up for a month of Netflix to watch.
Amazing.
Like
get the trial minimum to watch that thing.
Yeah.
I assume there's still trials for it.
So yeah, anyway, that's it. Pinocchio's crazy. Glass Onion's good. Fortnite's a game. Michael's having a birthday. Let's talk about the news.
Yes.
Let's start with a shocking story. A shocking story that will shock everyone. Don't
to your very bones, it'll shake you.
Yes, don't listen to this while standing up or drinking, or you might fall down or spit out your drink. But it turns out that Square Enix has made some stupid. Is still on that. They're still on that dumb shit.
Yes, they're still going for it.
So last year, the president of Square Enix, Yosuke Matsuda, came out with this relatively unhinged letter talking about how like it was this weird concept that I feel like somebody has convinced CEOs of this thing, and I don't think it's a thing, where it's like, you know, okay, so some people just like to play a game because they like to be entertained by a media product. But what about the people who want to play a game and they want that to be like their job and shit? Like they want to
know where they got that from.
Shit, and it's like, who wants to do that? Like, I mean, I guess you could start up a website and ask for patrons.
Well, that's the thing, is the people who do that have, like, you know, streaming things, and they get money for actually playing various games.
Right.
They're not farming a game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they wake up and they're like, time to get the carrots out of the thing or whatever for money. Like, that's not what their version of gaming money is.
And then to top it all off, like, that concept in and of itself is fairly foreign, and then it's like, but you know, when we're going to create an avenue for them to play the game and actually earn tangible rewards on the blockchain as NFTs. It's like, oh, what? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, you've made up, like, somebody needs to come into your office and just Will Smith slap you upside the head and be like, look around you. What are you talking about? This is not reality.
I remember when they announced that specific part of it, the original scenario.
Yeah.
We made that Ready Player One joke of all the people trapped in the VR paying off their debts.
Yeah.
I'm like, they think people just do that, but like in real life.
I think it's the only thing that makes sense to me. So that was last year. This year, he put out a statement, and it was okay. So here's the thing. I read the statement. Did you read his actual statement?
I did, actually.
Okay,
because I actually wrote an article on this.
So here's the thing. The headlines for this is a little overblown. Basically, it's like, Square Enix president doubles down on fucking your mom with an NFT, and it's like,
he still doubles down on it.
He doubles down on it.
It's just not the way you think he's doubling down on it.
It's like they talk. It's a lot of it is just talking about. It's actually really interesting to read because it shows some of the thinking of why Square Enix is doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's actually sound reasoning, but it's insane reasoning. I'm not going to lie, but it's like it makes some sense as to why they think it would work.
Yeah, well, part of it is talking about, like, it seems like Square Enix is kind of a mess.
Yes.
And that part of, like, selling off the Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, Montreal to Embracer Group was about them trying to, like he talks in that letter about how there used to be, like, Square Enix North America and Square Enix Japan, right? And how the two of them were operating, like, semi-independently with stuff between them. Yeah. They're, like, eliminating most of their Western development because they just want the whole thing to be under one umbrella. And I think a lot of that is because there was something getting lost in the game of telephone all the way to the
1,000%.
The European studios,
and
right?
They kept, like, giving them weird expectations. Right. They only gave the Western side.
Yeah.
More like, because the Final Fantasy 7 or not Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy like 15 didn't exactly sell Call of Duty numbers the way they thought Tomb Raider would, and but they were cool with that. So why were they upset with everyone on the Western side for shit like that?
Nobody's out here flagellating themselves over the low sales numbers for Harvestella.
Yeah,
like
it's weird. It didn't make any sense. It still doesn't make any sense to me. It was a weird double standard that didn't make any reasonable amount of sense.
Yeah. And then he talks about how with blockchain and NFTs and Web3, how they're going to stay the course there. And then he mentions basically the FTX crash and a lot of the other stuff that's happened with crypto and how people are like, crypto's kind of like not having a great day right now. But he's like, but this is what always happens when there's new technology and it's like, there's adopters and then people, there's a backlash and like, but we're just going to stay the course. We're going to stay the course. Now, I read this, and I don't know what happened, Michael, but, like, I had this one thought, okay? I wanted to put this out here. This is going to sound like a very not Jeff thought, right? But I was thinking about how if these companies wanted to create a universal gaming blockchain that you could buy, like, cosmetics on with regular money that were not NFTs,
yeah,
but it was just like a big digital wallet, but it was a common blockchain, right, that anybody could access. So like I could buy the All Might outfit in Fortnite, and then Bandai Namco puts out a new My Hero Academia game, and it can access that same database and be like, oh, you have that outfit, we're going to give you a little bonus, kind of like the amiibos, right? Like a digital version of the amiibos.
No, well, that's the thing everybody's always been somewhat, or that's not the main thing people were saying, because the main reason people were really excited about NFTs was basically what you're saying, but not exactly what you're saying. Their version was the more insane impossible version.
Right.
Where if I have an axe in Fortnite, I should be able to use that axe
in God of War Ragnarok.
God of War
yeah.
or Final Fantasy VII. You're like,
right.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But yeah, what you're saying is exactly the normal thing a person should think about that sort of idea.
Yeah.
I still don't think it would 100% work, only because... Well, not entirely. It all depends on what you would be getting from it. Because also with Amiibos, it's also similar to that. Because you'll play a game,
yeah,
and it'll be like, if you're playing Zelda, you get a horse if you use your Link Amiibo or something.
Yeah.
But if I put Captain Falcon there, like, here's some apples, I guess.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's not as interesting. And so that's like, whereas the NFTs argument was trying to make it like an equal sort of level.
I guess
in some ways, I don't know.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like definitely like when I say that I mean only blockchain, not NFTs, not crypto. Like you can create a blockchain that can be like accessed by multiple people that doesn't have to run on cryptocurrency, that doesn't have to sell NFTs, that could just sell like, you know, everybody can buy the axe skin that you're talking about, right? It doesn't have to be there's 5,000 axe skins and various different rarities and blah blah blah. It could just be like, instead of every company having to maintain its own dumb cosmetic database or its dumb little like in fact, there's something that's kind of like that. Like, you know, when you have sometimes you'll see stuff on Steam where it's like if you have a save game from a previous or
a lot of games did that for a while,
or
actually.
like a Metal Gear Solid, right? I see like Castlevania games, right? Like you could have a common blockchain that was accessed that had stuff on it. The problem is they get greedy because it's not about that service; it's about tricking you into making your money turn into monopoly money, right?
Yes,
like that's all they care about. So,
well, there's another part of the statement that I don't remember if you noticed was the part where they're like, well, the other reason we're cool with it is we're 90% certain this is going to go to regulation.
Yes,
that they're going to start regulating it because they mentioned like Japan's making some strides towards it. And I'm like, but wasn't the point of people liking NFTs is that they were decentralized and unregulated?
Oh, hey, you know what, Michael? You know what? I'm going to come out here with a second controversial Jeff statement. If this shit was regulated, I would be less pissy about it. Like, because right now the thing is that it's like if I invest in this horse shit and somebody steals my axe skin, too bad, so sad.
It's gone.
You're mad, I'm glad. Like, it's, you know, I can't go to the cops and be like, Michael stole my horse armor. And they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Whereas if there's like some kind of enforcement mechanism.
Yeah, like you remember what happened to Seth Green and his apes?
Right.
Like that guy had to buy his ape from another guy, not even from the guy who stole it.
Yeah.
Somebody stole it, sold it to some guy, and that guy was like, I'm just not going to give you the ape back. No, it's mine now.
Because it's not real, so it doesn't fall under like real laws of taking shit. And then like the whole point of it is that it's not subject to any government oversight. And so if you get fucked, you're just fucked. And it's like, who wants to invest in that system?
You can't there's not a button that says restore previous ape in blockchain.
Right.
It's just, it was gone.
Yeah.
And you had to pay the guy like $100,000 or something like that to get his ape back.
So anyway, Square Enix is going to keep on that bullshit. I feel like they're the last ones. I feel like everybody else is just like, nah, that's all right. We've just seen, especially after the FTX
well,
crash.
They're the last big one because they're still, because Ubisoft was the first big one to be like, well, let's try this out. And they did the Ghost Recon thing, which went horribly, horribly wrong for them. And then they were like, it was a joke kind of thing. Like, it was for research purposes. We didn't mean to like go this far with it kind of thing. And Square's the only like big one. They're like, don't listen to that guy. We're your friends. We're gonna still make these webs. Like, what was the last one that Symbiogenesis
Genesis
that they came out with? but I still see tweets from like the Web3 developers trying to make things. And I saw a game that looked halfway decent for the first time.
Yeah.
But it still did not look like a very good game when I was watching them play.
Who wants to deal with that shit? Who wants to like authenticate your fucking video game onto the blockchain in order to like let me hit a guy?
Yeah,
like that's bullshit. Like it's adding more steps with a promise of a nebulous return for no benefit. Like
it's a fruitless endeavor, and no one seems to understand that.
Yeah,
they're like, we can make games with that. I'm like, cool, but we can make other really cool looking games without having to deal with your bullshit.
Absolutely true. But hey, guess what? I'm not done shitting on Square Enix just yet. Woo boy, ooh doggies.
What do they do now?
Well, it's what they did, because this happened, I believe, after we had stopped recording, but they shut down Final Fantasy card.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
they shut down Chocobo GP, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yep. They're shutting down support for the racer. They're no longer selling the real world currency. Further updates are not happening, and like
they came out for like a month.
Michael, I mean, I'm going to admit I'm taking this from James Stephanie Sterling video, but like, Square Enix shut down 3 live services last year: Babylon's Fall, Final Fantasy VII First Soldier, and Chocobo GP. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Do not trust them, you guys. Like, no matter how good it looks, do not trust them if they say live service, because fuck, man, like, Anthem was up for longer than these games.
They were.
Like,
it's sad. Like, God, that game, I felt like just came out.
Yeah,
like it was not that long.
When did it come out? It was out for a little while. I think it was like halfway.
Was
through.
it long? Was it longer than I thought? Because I don't remember.
It was January last year.
Not even a year.
Not even a year. But yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but between that and Babylon's Fall and the other one, it's just like, okay, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You can't like sell a game and then promise us that and then like make that's the big problem with a lot of these things, is it like, if you sell a game and that game is complete and it's got a tacked on multiplayer. If you sell BioShock 2, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually you're like, nobody's playing the multiplayer, we're going to shut down the servers. It's like, you know what? That's fine. I still have a full video game here that I can play by myself. But if you sell Fortnite and like, if Fortnite costs $60 and then like eventually then they let you shove a bunch of money into it, and then eventually they were just like, well, we're turning off the servers, and like, what about all the money I spent? It's like, that's our money now, sucker.
Yeah,
like,
you're fucked. I'm sorry.
You know, that wouldn't feel good, and this don't feel good.
Yeah, because I remember the first time it ever happened to me with a game for service shutting down after spending some money on it was it was that Marvel Heroes game. I forgot the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was
the Diablo kind of one that was on Steam. Yeah,
and then because it came out on PlayStation is when I bought it. It was when I played it, and it was a free to play game, and so I spent money on it to because there was a Spider-Man costume that changed his voice from Drake Bell to the 90s cartoon voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I'm going to put money in for that. That would be pretty cool. And then it shut down because they lost the license, I think not even like a year later.
And I guess that's the thing, is I do want to be clear here that like, I do understand that live service games sunset, right? Like, I'm not expecting every game to be online forever. But
I'm not either, but yeah.
I'm expecting it to be online for more than a year, especially if you have to buy it. Especially if it costs money to start playing, like Babylon's Fall did. So.
Yeah, Babylon's Fall was a good example of just like them fucking up from the get-go.
Yeah,
because Marvel's Avengers, they tried. Honestly, it makes me surprised that Marvel's Avengers lasted as long as it did. I think it's still going on now.
Yeah, it's not even shut down.
Came out with some new things, but I think one of the reasons for that is because they got sold.
Right,
like they're not even under Square Enix anymore. But that's what makes it surprising that they weren't shut down under Square Enix.
Yeah,
because they were around for a couple years prior to that point.
There's probably a contract involved with Marvel where they couldn't shut it down right away.
Yeah.
Like, because Square Enix, it's like Square Enix has become Japanese Ubisoft to me, where it's just like they don't seem to know what they're doing. They're like making a lot of moves, but they're really weird moves where it's just like, you guys could hire me. I could run Square Enix, and like, I know what the people want.
Well, to quote Glass Onion, but without spoiling, is going, it's dumb, and then somebody goes, so it's brilliant. No, it's just dumb.
It's just dumb.
It's just dumb.
Yeah,
so dumb it's brilliant.
Well, I guess the thing is that I don't know if this tracks, so you could check me on this, but it's like Square Enix seems to live in a world where they think there are no consequences, and it's like, I don't understand the people that continue to trust Square, because like they have proven themselves to be incredibly untrustworthy over the last few years.
They treat themselves like they're in the height of their power,
right?
But they haven't been in the height of the power for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
like no one's. Like, when was the last time someone was like, "Oh my God, Square Enix is coming out with the game"? I haven't heard that ever.
Last year.
Like
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, but that's different than like
a new game.
A new game, because when there used to be new Square games in general,
sure,
people were excited. Like when Xenogears was announced, they're like, "Oh my God, Xenogears!" Chrono Trigger, like all of these like things that weren't big at the time, but you were excited because Square was like a template of like quality. Now it's like Square Enix is coming out with the game, and you're like, is it Final Fantasy? No, then I don't care.
Okay, as non-Final Fantasy, because I will say that I see a lot of people, especially in the Discord and some of the YouTube comments, that are super excited for Final Fantasy 16, specifically pushing back against my not being as excited for Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, but this is a good... the reason I'm saying is because the Chocobo GP, the other Babylon's Fall, those are all not Final Fantasy games.
Right.
But that's what I was saying, basically.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm
telling the audience in case they didn't follow.
All right. So we've crapped a little bit on Square Enix, but now as a little palate cleanser before we get into some bullshit, Michael, I have an amazing story for you.
Okay.
I thought that the crypto grift, it was the gift that I thought was done giving, but this week in Australia, an Australian court has put up an injunction against from the Pokemon company to a company called Pokemon Pty Limited.
What the fuck?
That has created a whole website for a game called Pokeworld.
What the fuck?
And this game, this is amazing. Somebody just said, I'm putting the Pokemon on the blockchain. I'm making a whole fucking game. And it's like this NFT Ethereum blockchain Pokemon game. They have a whole website. The website has videos showing like the gameplay. It's using all the Pokemon characters. It's using the Pokemon font. It's using the Pokemon name. It's using the literal Pikachu.
Jesus Christ.
It's got these mechanics about how you're gonna buy NFT badges to equip to give your characters more power. They've got a video on this web. It's called Pokeworld.game is their website. I highly recommend everybody go take a look at it. They've got like little videos about how like here's how the battle system works, where you can go to these locations and then fight these battles with these really terrible Pokemon models that are all way too shiny. They're all shiny.
They're super shiny. Pikachu's arms are freaking me the fuck out.
Yep.
Like there's something off about every single one of the characters. Like they are the characters. I'm not gonna pretend like they don't look like. I'm not gonna pretend that it's like a dime store thing where it's called the Avengers and it's got like Superman in it kind of thing.
Right.
It's like no, these are like the legit.
This isn't Power World
characters, but they like so the designs are there, but there's things that are off about them because first like this Charmander doesn't have a fire on his tail.
Yeah,
is a good example of that. And Pikachu's arms are not. Are just weirdly like buff. I feel like, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like it doesn't feel like it's the way he looks normally.
He's got an elbow where he most of the time he just kind of has like little stalks that come out.
Yeah,
type of thing.
And then it's got this really, and yeah, like you said, it's got this shine to it.
Yep,
that's unworldly, and it's creepy.
So. This whole website exists. My favorite part of this website is down at the bottom. Like, so this whole thing is
roadmap,
blockchain, NFTs, like buy out. Oh my God! Wait, hold on. Where's the outfits part? There was a part.
Is it under
I think it's in this one where they show that you could buy different outfits for the ones. And what I love is that when they're showing this, so the skins. One of them is just Pikachu wearing a Deadpool costume.
Oh my God! It's straight up. This is a Deadpool Pikachu beam.
And then when it comes out, he's just wearing a Loki costume from the Loki series, and like this Eevee's got a Harry Potter thing on, and like this is just completely unlicensed horseshit. Like
this is super illegal.
Yes, this is copyright infringement. But then, like, the thing that's crazy is I go all the way down to the bottom of this website because I'm looking this over and I'm just like, how did this happen? And like, I think I know what happened, Michael, because here's the roadmap. And then there's a thing called tokenomics, and it's showing like what percentage of everything is going to go to whom. And 8% of their revenue is designated to go to the Pokemon Company International. I think this thing was made by one guy, because there's a defendant named in this lawsuit, doesn't live at the address that's on this website, can't be contacted, they can't find him. They literally had this court case in absentia and like ruled against.
One of those. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that this guy thought like, well, I'm going to put it on the blockchain. You can't take stuff off the blockchain. So like they'll just accept the 8% that I'm going to run. They've done that before, right?
He's just gonna give him the what?
Like the thing is, there was if you watch Dan what's his face, the Olsen, the line goes up thing. There was like the Inuyasha coin guys who were just like, well. And they're like, well, what about the copyright? And they're like, well, we put it on the blockchain. You can't erase things from the blockchain. Like, right, but what about the copyright laws? And they're like, it's on the blockchain. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and it's like, it's why I keep saying that someday somebody's going to do something like this. And there's going to be eventually, like, there's going to be a like, okay, first off, you can't do this. And then second, if this is on the Ethereum blockchain, which it is, someday a judge is going to come down and be like, you must take Pikachu off of the Ethereum blockchain. They'll be like, sorry, bro, you can't do that. It's like, well, you could do that, or we're going to start arresting everybody that has the copies of the blockchain, and we'll do it manually because the Pokemon Company does not fuck around with copyright infringement.
The Pokemon team doesn't fuck around, and neither does Nintendo, the thing that mostly uses the Pokemons.
But they literally have the Pokemon Company International's logo on their website.
Brought to you by them.
Along with their own bullshit company. It's amazing. This is amazing.
One of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
I love it.
Because it's the biggest fucking come at me I've seen in quite some time.
Yep. And I get the feeling that it's just this guy thinks that he could do this by just like hiding and like if they can't find me, they can't stop me.
He's expecting this to be on Google Play.
Yep.
And he's expecting the Apple Store to be cool with this.
Yep.
Are you shitting me?
It's a pretty good website, though. I'll be honest.
That's the funny thing.
Like, it's a pretty good
website is legitimately well made.
Yep.
And that's what makes it that much funnier.
And even the little animations they have, they look like a crappy phone game, right? Like
again, Pikachu's arms are freaking me out. But that's like the only thing that's super off about him.
Yep.
But that's because he has a lot of animations, like even in the videos and stuff. Like I'm sure the game's not like would have a hard time looking like an actual game. But he actually put some work into these animations.
Because like Pikachu has fur, and this one's shiny like butter.
Yeah,
so it's weird.
Well, it's like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a cell shaded GameCube game, if that makes sense.
Yep,
that's the best way of describing what that type of model looks like.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
like Budokai 1, where they look like almost like Barbie doll like level of kind of models.
Yep. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, apparently, like again, this is one of these things where they tried to serve papers to the guy and like the companies, but they don't exist.
When did this happen? When did he? What the fuck?
No, this news story happened right before Christmas. It was like right before Christmas.
I'm amazed I didn't hear about this whole time.
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny.
It's fucking crazy.
Jesus H. Christ.
Speaking of lawsuits, one of the things, again, that we missed that happened right before Christmas was that Epic had to pay $520 million to the FTC in lawsuits.
So I heard about this one because it was a big deal. It was a huge deal because it's apparently like the biggest one of these types of payments, I guess, if that makes sense. It's fucking crazy.
So basically there's two parts of this. One is that they had to pay $275 million for violating COPPA, the Child Online Protection Privacy Act, which is vague and bad, and I don't like it. I don't want children to get suckered, but like it's just a weird thing. Like I remember everybody freaking out when they put that thing into into law, where it was just like, what do I have to do with my YouTube channel to make sure that this isn't being looked at, so that cops don't show up to be like, we caught an 8-year-old watching RageSelect. I'm like, I didn't make it for 8-year-olds. Well, show me the button that says 8-year-olds can't watch this shit.
What's one of the reasons why every website you go to now just says, do you allow our cookies?
Right.
Like, for the love of God, like you say, you're cool with it.
I think that was actually a European thing, but anyway.
No, but it was both. That's the thing, is it helps people with both of them.
And then another $245 million was to be used to refund customers that were victim to, quote, dark patterns and billing practices, unquote. Now, I think this is a really interesting thing, Michael, is that I think that before the break, before we went off for Christmas, I would have been like, this seems kind of stupid. But having been on the other side of the microtransaction wall for Fortnite, they're a little bit trixies.
They're super tricksy.
Like, you buy the battle pass, right? And there are certain things, like every time you level up, you get 5 stars, and you can spend those stars inside of the battle pass, but you can also spend those stars to level up the battle pass. So if you want something that's further down the battle pass, you can use the stars to level up. And like, let's say you're looking for a thing and you just say like, buy with stars, and you don't have enough stars, then it'll instantly fill in the rest with V-Bucks and then just send you to the V-Bucks store. There, you can get to the V-Bucks store a lot of ways, and it's super easy to buy stuff. So I can see a case being made where it's just like, children should... It's one of the major problems that's been around for a long time, and I don't think anybody's really successfully done it, right? Parents hand their children a device. The children start playing a game. They're like, Mommy, can I buy the Deadpool skin? And they're like, how much is it? And they're like, $10. And they're like, okay, fine. Here's my credit card. Buy the skin. Then they put it in. And then they're like, ooh, Transformers, an All Might skin, and they're like, can I buy that? And it's just like one click away, add more, add more.
Just keep doing
and then suddenly, they get the bill, and it's like, how did you spend $8,000 on fucking virtual? You said it was $10, and now like we can't pay rent next month.
And
we haven't figured out a way around that.
There's a lot of stories like that.
Part of me is like, there's a part of me that says we shouldn't have to lock down the entire system of online digital purchases because parents can't be bothered to figure this shit out with their kids.
Well, even when they do, the kids are crafty as hell.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of password stuff where like you can put a password on, but then there's the kid that's just like watching over the shoulder, memorizes some shit.
Right.
Or you remove the card, but then there's the kid who fucking memorizes all the card numbers.
Or you're just like, you're in a Zoom meeting and they're like, Mom, what's the password? And fucking Dad's balls 001.
Yeah.
Like,
you catch them off guard, that sort of thing. Like it's fucked.
Because the thing is that I'll tell you right now, if there's any parents listening, I guess we're all old now, so there could be parents listening.
The grandmother specifically.
Again, I cannot, if there's one product that I would recommend wholeheartedly without any caveat, it is privacy.com, where you can set up an account and you can generate virtual credit cards that you can put like a capper on. It doesn't cost any money. There's no up charges or anything. They make all their money on the credit card transactions or the transaction fees with companies.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, you can make a credit card and be like $20 max forever. And if you decide you want to let it have more access, you can do that. But so anyway, they paid this fine. I'm also not entirely weeping for Epic Games because they make so much goddamn money that
we found out they made billions of dollars in since the beginning of all this.
Yes. So by default now, so after this, what they've done is they have sequestered the accounts of people that are under 13 and have the privacy by default jacked all the way up. Like, that's another thing is don't let people go into voice chat by default. Don't let them have contact with other people. I think you can obscure your username, right? So that people can't look at your username and things. So, and it's funny because I actually read the statement from Epic, and they were like, they took this with good grace. Here's the quote: "The laws have not changed, but their application has evolved, and long-standing industry practices are no longer enough. We accepted this agreement because we want Epic to be at the forefront of consumer protection and provide the best experience for our players." And it's like, okay, guys.
That's a very nice way of putting what happened.
Because that's the other thing is that there's not there's not a comprehensive set of laws that says like you as a company must do X, Y, and Z if you are running a live service, right, to protect minors.
Yeah, the
it's
issue
very
is that
vague.
Yeah, the issue is that lawmakers don't know how these things work.
Yeah,
so they don't know how to be like, they don't know how to make a law that says do X, Y, and Z for this specific thing, or they do when it comes to like, you know, normal business practices among, you know, buying and sharing, not, you know, shooting Captain America in the face while being dressed as Deku kind of thing. Like, they don't know what to do with that. They don't know how any of that works.
Yes. We know what to do if like two children stand on each other's shoulders in a trench coat and come into a liquor store and try to buy booze. We know what the law is, but like, what's the law for letting people buy Deadpool skins?
Yeah.
Like, what is the law for letting people buy Deadpool skins if they're not over 18? And like, I think they should do that. Like, I'd rather see them do that. I read an article last week where it's like Louisiana passed some kind of privacy law. This one actually does apply to this, and I don't want it to go this far, but apparently like Louisiana passed some kind of privacy law where like any website that has over 18 content on it, you have to type in your driver's license number.
Really?
So if you go to like Pornhub, you have to type in your driver's license number to prove that you are not underage, because they were just like, no, that it's ruining the children. So
that's kind of insane, but I don't know. It's like it's a shot, at least. It makes sense to try. You know what I mean? It's dumb, I'm not gonna lie, but it makes some sense to why they did that.
Not to get too far off on this tangent, but the reason that I rankle a little bit at that is because I'm like, I don't want Pornhub to have my fucking driver's license number. Those motherfuckers, they'll have a breach, right? Somebody won't update the server, and then they'll have some kind of leak, and then somebody's got my driver's license numbers on the dark web, and somebody's using it to reset my insurance policy and pay for somebody's boat or something.
When I worked for e-commerce, there are apps for it that you can attach to the website, where it'll ask you to upload an image of your driver's license.
Yeah,
to make sure that they're willing to sell. It was mostly for vape sites that I saw this for.
Okay,
that they're selling vapes and alcohol to somebody who was not a minor. So it's not unheard of. That's the thing. I'm
more of a fan of developing a system where we put minors into like a Hunger Games or something until they're 18. Just let them lure the flies out like in the jungle. Like, I don't want to be restricted. I don't care about protecting your children. Like,
I always think of there's an old, not old, but it's a cartoon that's called Phineas and Ferb, where there's a dark future. It's supposed to be the bad future.
Yeah.
But it's where Dr. Doofenshmirtz is like, yeah, I propose just locking children into like it's almost like a cryogenic type thing.
Yeah.
And as they slowly age, and then you let them out.
There you go. Speaking of Fortnite, they took the Deku Smash out of Fortnite, out of the main Fortnite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As always, Epic didn't talk about it. I felt sad because I got to use it once, and then like I got into playing Fortnite and I wanted to use it, and then it was gone.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's still in the My Hero Academia, in the little like mode, the other mode that we played.
Oh, okay. It's just having issues with the main mode.
Yeah, apparently there's a theory that was going around online that says that like the way that it displays could cause like an epileptic reaction because of how like flashing lights and stuff is happening. I
can see that.
But it's been unconfirmed because Epic doesn't talk about this stuff. So,
It's one of those things that I think is kind of interesting about Fortnite is they have seasonal items.
Yeah.
Like the Kamehameha was a seasonal item.
Yep.
And there was a lot of videos of Venom doing the Kamehameha wave, which is what makes Fortnite so fucking weird.
It's a very weird game. It's a very strange game.
Like you see Ariana Grande do the fucking Detroit Smash, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Ariana Grande killed the shit out of me in one of my matches. I was just like, I feel bad about that. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's very strange. Very strange universe they've set up there.
Let's see. Speaking of online shooting matches, Rainbow Six Siege has a really interesting new exploit that hackers are using, where apparently they have there's a thing that comes up on your screen when somebody has been like reported or banned, and hackers have somehow figured out how to like inject images into that message.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So like this is a video of somebody playing, and then like you'll see a giant chicken just comes up in the middle of the screen. Like this is what's happened to their game, and it's because they uploaded this chicken image and then hacked it into the like reporting thing. So when the reporting message came up, it showed this instead. It showed whatever they wanted to instead. And yeah, apparently you could turn this off. Like you just have to turn off that messaging.
Yeah.
But it's kind of amazing how the things that people get up to. Also, I ended up watching this streamer that was in this article play Rainbow Six Siege, and I'm just like, God, this game looks like really not fun.
No, that's the reason I never even tried to really get in. Like I wanted to, but yeah.
These guys are super duper serial about this. Like nobody's having any fun. But yeah. So yeah, it just like blasts up these and apparently mostly using chickens, and then sometimes there are other memes in the middle of the screen. So
oh my God, that's amazing. That's fucked.
Yep. So yeah,
war is evolving, Jeff. War has changed.
This is the other one. I don't know what that means, but this is another one that
just a random.
This image that I don't know what this means, and I don't know if it's like racist, so I'm not going to talk about it.
I don't really know what that means either, so I don't really know what to say on it.
It might be like a deep Rainbow Six cut, so or Rainbow Six Siege cut, so I don't know.
Whoever Rampy is, sure.
Yeah,
good
I don't know. I don't know who Rampy is.
I don't know what that means.
Let's see. From there, let's keep on the online multiplayer thing. We got the Battle for Olympus is happening in Overwatch 2 right now.
Oh, okay.
That started. Apparently, it's pretty fun because they've added like new like powers to the different people that are in there, so they're slightly different, and then they're playing kind of in this one map that kind of has like the pillars and stuff. It was like a
does it have like a mode specifically set for that?
Yeah, I haven't looked into it, but I'm pretty sure it's an arcade mode that specifically restricts you to like these characters, and then they have a little bit altered powers. So
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, the coolest thing about it, though, and the reason that I put it out here was mostly because the prize, apparently, whichever character ends up having like the most kills at the end of this event will be immortalized in a statue in the Ilos map on Greece. They're going to put them as like a god in the background.
That's actually pretty fun.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
As much as I hate a lot of what they've done to Overwatch, they still have good ideas.
Yeah. They're just bad. I just honestly like they either need to clean up their battle pass or they need to go back to the old ways, and I don't think they're going back to the old ways.
No,
so,
like after you've now seen what the Fortnite battle pass is,
yeah,
the one that everyone actually really likes.
Yeah.
Now you get why everyone's so upset.
Well,
about
and
the other
Warzone
ones.
does the same thing, where they give you the like they give you the opportunity to like which sector. It's like a map, and it's like which sector of the battle pass you want to concentrate on, so you can pick like where are the things that I want instead of having to go in this straight line where it's like, oh, well, I want the thing that's at level 70, and I don't care about grinding it out every day to get up to level 70. So
that's the issue with a lot of battle passes right now is they're all just straight lines.
Yep. So give us a little bit more, there's ways to make it feel a little bit better. The other thing about Fortnite that I like, just briefly, is that Fortnite also has like a shitload of daily challenges, and it's got like daily challenges, season challenges, monthly challenges, and so you're always like, if you just kind of do a little bit of that stuff, you end up getting these big XP boosts that then pops you up to the next level. Like, so you can actually make it's not just like churning out like matches. It's like, it'll be like open 3 chests in this location, and so you're like, okay, I'll just put a map point there, go over. So
that's fun.
Yep. Let's see. Shifting gears from Blizzard to Microsoft, we got the news this week that Zenimax QA has successfully unionized.
Oh, damn.
Yep. And that's 300 QA workers at Zenimax.
That's a lot.
Which I think is good, considering apparently during Fallout 76's development, the QA was like crunched to fuck.
I'm not surprised there. That's the team that probably has the most work to do when it comes to Bethesda.
Yep. Microsoft, as has been their want, basically just said they put out a statement saying, just like, well, we look forward to negotiating a contract. We're very happy if that's what they want. the end. Like, Microsoft is not fighting this like Activision is. Like, they haven't tried to set up anti-union practices. They're just like, I mean, I kind of think it's like Microsoft is a big enough company that's just like, yeah, man, just do whatever. Fucking, I don't care.
I think the other
like,
part is that Microsoft's smart enough to not piss people off anymore. After pissing so many people off in the last generation, they're like, just don't do anything to piss anybody off right now. Just like whatever they say, just do it at this point.
Yeah.
I don't want Don Matrick to show up and be like, oh, if you don't want to work for a union, you should buy an Xbox 360 or something.
Right.
Like, I don't need that shit on my plate.
Well, let me just give you a brief. I guess there's not really a whole heck of a lot. Actually, I've got something to say about this before we move on. But like, let's not give Microsoft too many props yet, because the next story is like full of Microsoft doing stupid shit. But
I didn't say they didn't do stupid shit. I'm just saying they're trying not to do stupid shit.
They are trying not to do stupid shit. I really do think that, like, I'm hoping that 2023 is the year where it's just like, hey, guess what? We're gonna union up. Like, fuck you.
So.
Because the thing is that I not to wander too far out into my own political leanings, but everything's super expensive because of the inflation. And it's like, if it's because of inflation, then why are you all making record profits all the time? Like, more money than you've ever made before in your entire life. And it's like, well, we can't give anybody raises. And it's like, but you're making more money and everything's more expensive. What do you mean you can't give people raises? Like, you have to give people raises. It's just like, nope, sorry, I can't do it. Don't have any money. And it's like, no, but you told me you have a lot of money. And so I think the only way out of this cycle is going to be to start just be like, all right, fuck you. All the Starbucks are closed nationwide until we get better pay, right?
Yeah, it's just, there's a lot. The workers are finally paying attention.
Or, well, I think that also that the businesses have pushed this shit to the nth degree, right?
100%.
Where
it's because everyone can look up the revenue of a place now,
right?
Instead of just having to take somebody's word for something.
Yeah, yeah. Like, seriously, I mean, I'm very happy with my life at the moment, but what's weird is that, like, I don't know, it feels like as we were kind of coming out of the pandemic and things were like normalizing, and then it's like, and now everything's 25% more expensive, and it's just like, why? But why? And nobody can give me a good reason. Inflation. And I'm like, but why inflation? And they're like, supply chain. And I'm like, no, look, that's not true. No. There's a supply chain. It's fine.
Electrolytes. What?
And they're like, stimulus check. I'm like, it's been a year, man.
That was
like,
a long time ago.
Like, they're like, nobody wants to work. And I'm like, if that's the case, you guys shut off the unemployment and there's no more stimulus checks. How are the people living if they don't want, like...
No, it doesn't make any sense.
How? Explain it to me, or give me, or reduce the prices, motherfuckers.
You're like, there's too many people working, but nobody wants to work. Also, they're lazy. What?
Right. There's just too many things where it's like, Anyway, so I hope that this year there's just a lot of fucking like labor solidarity of just like, you all can eat a dick. Like, fuck you. Because especially for QA, man, I cannot.
Yeah, they shit on like crazy.
The QA is both underpaid, overworked, and then also disrespected.
Yes.
Like, as somebody who used to work QA, is just like, man, there are developers that wouldn't talk to me because I was in QA. Like, they considered me subhuman because I was in QA, and it's just like, damn.
That's only that tester. I always bring it up every time we bring up QA. The tester YouTube game show that they did, that I think Sony was the one who did it.
Yes, I believe it was.
If you won, you became a QA tester.
Yep.
Which was the worst prize of anything I've ever seen.
Well, in the beginning, they got to sell that shit before we had an internet where we could all talk to each other. And they're just like, playing games for a living sounds great, right? And you're like, it does sound good. And then you go online and you're just like, hey, guys, have you guys ever heard of doing this? And everybody's like, don't do it. It sucks. It sucks.
Grandma's boy tricked us into thinking it was a good idea. Curse you, Adam Sandler.
Did that movie really make a good case for being a game tester? That guy gets fucked over, right?
He does, but it still looked like fun. It looked like fun outside of dealing with a guy who thought he was in the Matrix.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do one more, and then we're going to take a break. Microsoft. This is the other thing.
Oh, God. I read this, and it's amazing.
Okay. this is a good story. I understand what happened.
I do too, but it makes it that much funnier.
Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft pulled a little bit of an oopsie. Last time we talked, the FTC had just filed a suit against Microsoft and their acquisition of Activision Blizzard. They had basically made the case that like this is going to make them too powerful, it's going to make them too big, they're going to be able to fuck up the market, etc., etc. Microsoft sent over a rebuttal, and it was full of a lot of reasons why no, you should totally let us do this. But then like part of it was that like the FTC as an organization is unconstitutional because it violates Section 2 of the Constitution, which enumerates the powers of the different branches of government. And
it just kept saying shit like that.
Like some real Ron Swanson libertarian shit,
Some
right?
insane, like just a lot of going, no, you suck. And it's just like, what?
Yeah, part of it talks about how the FTC's procedures violated the Fifth Amendment equal rights protection. Like, it's
Which
just
is
like,
oh my God.
and so, okay, they walked this back, and their reasoning for this was just like, we just wrote down everything and sent it. Like,
instead of writing it down on just the chalkboard,
right,
we wrote it on the entirety of the actual document.
Right. Instead of writing it on the whiteboard, we just typed it.
And instead of hitting save draft, somebody went send.
Yes. Now, you know, when you're a lawyer, right? Like, you know, you got to come up with, it's brainstorming. There's no bad ideas in brainstorming.
Yeah, no, it's the whole thing where it's like, he didn't murder that guy. The guy killed himself by walking into his knife 5 times.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. But the idea that, like, I guess it's just the idea that the founding fathers would have been like, you know what? Someday a big corporation's gonna someday a big video game company is gonna want to buy another big video game company, and we, as the founding fathers, believe that should be your right to buy them. And it's like, it doesn't matter what happens to the little guy.
The founding fathers want our right to bear Call of Duty.
Right? Yes, we threw tea into the harbor in order to give people the right to fucking play Diablo on their phones or whatever. It's just like, what are you talking about?
That's the part of Hamilton that got cut that no one remembers.
Yes, Lin-Manuel Miranda comes out and starts rapping about Overwatch. It's fucking crazy, man. Dude, oh my god, I would pay to see the fucking Jefferson Hamilton rap battle about the Activision FTC merger. Or the FTC fight. Oh
my god.
Anyway. Yeah, please. Anybody that like. Let me just say, you gotta have a really good reason to start bringing up the Constitution to me, or else I'm just gonna be like, "What are you talking about?"
My favorite thing is that, like, the whole thing about my favorite thing about the FTC argument is it's like, well, we need to convince the FTC that this is a good thing. Instead, they went up to their face and went, "Fuck you!
Yeah.
You're unconstitutional.
Yeah,
you should die."
Yeah,
and it's like, what the fuck?
It's like, wait a minute. If the FTC doesn't have the power to like oversee corporate mergers, then what the fuck are they there for?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, that's insane.
They're the Federal Trade Commission. Like, anyway,
I would have loved if for it to have worked, and they'd be like, "You're right, we have no authority over anything," and they just walked out.
Just the end of Labyrinth with fucking fucking Don Matrick and Jennifer Connelly. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyway, we need to take a break. We come back. We got more news left to go. We're gonna have to get it into high gear because there's a lot more news on this news list.
This is one of my favorite podcasts because we've had 2 stories that are just funny to me.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, we'll see you in just a second. We're not quite done with the Microsoft stories yet, Michael, but we got a lot of news to get through, so we're going to go a little faster. The UK, so, you know, the Microsoft Activision acquisition is not just happening in the United States. The UK had their kind of open comment time for people, for members of the public to send in their open comments about it. And apparently they got, like, you know, somewhere around 5,000 comments. They said that there was like 2,600 that had to be excluded due to quote abusive content or being blank or unintelligible. So
That sounds about right.
About half of them had to be thrown away.
Some were probably bots too.
Yeah, and around of the 2,100 emails that they got, around 3/4 were broadly in favor, and around 1/4 were broadly against. I guess this is one of those things where it's like, if you ask the populace of your country, like, for an opinion on this, like, you're just going to get a lot of people who are very invested in it. You're not going to get a lot of people thinking about the long-term ramifications.
Yeah, it's not a general public question that most people would think about.
Yeah.
Past, do you want Microsoft to own Call of Duty?
Right.
Like, they won't think about, but what happens after that?
Yeah.
They don't have. They're the kind of guy who's like, that gremlin's really cute, and it's pretty cool, but what? And then they don't think about the rules parts of it.
Sure.
And then it goes, it could either go horribly wrong or they might get lucky.
I think your clock gets unplugged, and the Mogwai, they're all like yelling for food and shit, and you're just like, well, have some chicken. What could go wrong?
Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah.
Give it a bath, they said.
I'm still a little like on the fence about
gremlins.
About gremlins. I'm not sure whether I'm pro Mogwai or anti Mogwai at this point. No, about this whole merger. Like, I don't know.
No, I get it. I don't because we don't know the ramifications.
Yeah.
We are the type of people that are like looking at the Civil War, trying to do the math of whether or not you should make the Superhero Registration Act, kind of thing.
Okay. You need to specify which Civil War you're talking about when you start making metaphors, because I was like, what the fuck where is he going? What?
That's the whole Reed Richards thing, where Reed Richards is just like, if I do the math, I know what will happen, kind of thing.
Right.
We're stuck in that point where we're like, which honestly we shouldn't be, because we don't know what will happen.
Yes.
We don't know if it's going to be perfectly fine, or we don't know if Phil Spencer's going to be like, psych, and then he'd just make everything exclusive. Like, who knows what happens?
Well, I mean,
Starfield
Starfield's already exclusive, right? Like, that's a big fucking thing that's now Xbox and PC. I actually think that, like, they talk about some of the responses that they got, and I think that a lot of it is that people, for the most part, I think this is maybe what's starting to sway me a little bit. People, for the most part, do not understand how big Microsoft is.
No, they don't.
They think of them as like the guys what make the Xbox, not the guys that made like every single operating system that's been on your computer since like
92 or something.
Something I mean, like,
long.
Let's
go with 95. That's the one most people remember.
Sure. They have a boatload of money, like a literal boat full of money.
There's a reason, guys, why people think Bill Gates controls the world.
Right.
Like, there's a reason they think he puts Microsoft Xboxes into vaccines or something. Whatever. I don't know how that works.
So, a lot of these responses were talking about how, like, well, Sony's got, like, Final Fantasy as, like, the console exclusive for them. And it's like, yes, that is nothing. That is garbage. That is shit. Like, Microsoft could buy Sony. Like, the whole company.
10 times over.
Like, many times over. Microsoft could potentially, if they put their minds to it, could potentially buy Nintendo. Like, Nintendo wouldn't sell, but they might be able to, like, over the course of a decade, aggressively buy stock and chip away and, like, fucking run a PR campaign.
If they really wanted to, they could.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they tried. That was the first thing they did try.
Yeah.
Years and years ago was, hey, you want to be owned by Microsoft, and they laughed at them. And
it's mostly because Nintendo is already a very rich and very conservative company that has absolutely no interest in selling.
Yeah,
right?
they are their own thing, and they want to stay that way.
Yeah,
but that's not the same for, say, Activision.
But like, you think about the amount of money that Microsoft is spending on this deal, and how, like, within 2 to 5 years it could just all be like that. That could be that investment could have paid itself off in revenue coming from Activision King Blizzard. And then you think about, okay, well, now they're even fucking bigger, and now they're making that Warzone money. They're making that Candy Crush money in addition to all the rest of this horse shit.
Because it's not like they're buying Sega right now,
right?
Because Sega, if it's like if they were buying Sega at the height of Sega's power, kind of. That's the closest real thing, really, when it comes to that. And it's like as if they were going to buy it and then be like, fuck it, Dreamcast 2 kind of thing.
Right.
Like, that's the amount of money they have.
Yeah.
They could do that and get away with it.
So, like, the whole framing, especially some of this Microsoft framing of just like, well, anybody can make Call of Duty. And I do think that anybody can make Call of
They
Duty.
could.
But the idea that Microsoft is just like, I'm just an everyman. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like the rest of y'all.
I'm just a lowly Southern
I may
gentleman.
just be a simple hyper chicken lawyer, but like no, man. This is a huge organization,
Microsoft, guys. Like, because one of the main issues is that Apple has made themselves thanks to Steve Jobs, they made themselves the big white piece of technology in the sky,
right?
Kind of thing. Where Microsoft, I kept trying and they kept failing at it, and so people assumed that meant that Microsoft sucked, not realizing it meant that Microsoft had so much money that they were allowed to make these failures and keep going as a company.
Yes. They're fucking huge.
They're massive.
Like, they're huge.
Like, because the Zune failed, the Microsoft phones failed. Like, all of these things kept failing. Sega failed at one console and immediately went under, like, kind of thing. Like, it's insane.
You can make an argument that the original Xbox was like kind of a failure. It was like
mostly
a
failed.
half success. And then remember how for like 3 years the Red Ring of Death on the original Xboxes, those things were failing all the time.
Yeah,
like,
they gave you free replacements for those.
Yep.
And I will always say this is that Halo saved the original Xbox from being considered a failure, and Gears of War kept the 360 alive long enough for Halo 3 to come out as well.
Yep. So yeah, I don't necessarily buy this whole thing. On the other hand, I can't get too worked up about Call of Duty, and the company that they want to buy doesn't do anything that I care about.
Well, that's that's the reason why it's so hard to know what we feel, because if I feel on one side, I feel if they buy them, there's a bunch of long dormant IPs that they have,
right,
that could that could potentially come back.
Yeah,
but on the other side, those things could be coming back, but then stuck on one specific thing.
Yep.
Or they could just say, hey, we're just gonna dissolve the entire thing and not do anything with it to begin with, other than have the Call of Duty name. Like, we don't know what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah.
They could do literally anything, and they have the amount of money that it doesn't matter what they did with it.
Well, and it's also worth pointing out that, like, the reason that Microsoft is kind of like good guy Microsoft right now is because they got their ass kicked last gen.
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't get their ass kicked last gen, they wouldn't be offering Game Pass and things. Like, if Microsoft had come out on top, there would be no Game Pass. Game Pass was a way to, like, get you to buy into their ecosystem, because they bet on fucking cable television like super hard in the Connect, and it didn't work out. Cable? Right. They had a lot of missteps at the beginning of the Xbox One generation.
My favorite thing is that streaming was that, like, it's as slowly rising as that started.
Yes. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Also, though, it becomes the sort of thing where it's like, these are like fucking, it's like Godzilla and an iceberg heading at each other. Like, my ability to do anything about this is incredibly limited.
It is, but
like,
it also is kind of fun to watch.
It's just kind of like, which color pennant do I hold up as I watch these two things slowly move towards each other? Like, we go, or like, boo, no.
And Nintendo's just in the corner with you eating popcorn.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's go to... I didn't know this happened until I read this article.
Well, I told you about this too.
You did.
Yeah.
And then I ended up looking into it because I didn't understand it. Let's talk about something we don't talk about on RageSelect very much. Madden.
Yeah. John Madden is he came back from the dead.
So apparently over the break, Madden had a live service like holiday event. And it was all fucked up. Like, it had these percentages of, like, you were supposed to open these packs and you were supposed to be getting, like, you got like an 85% chance to get, like, a good Tom Brady. You got 85% Tom Brady drop. Weird. That's fucking weird. Like, and then people were, like, spending real money buying, like, because you couldn't open these packs until, like, Christmas or something. And, like, so people were buying with real money these packs ahead of time to make sure that they had enough packs to get the Tom Brady that they wanted for Christmas or whatever these words mean. I don't understand them. Sure. And then apparently it was all fucked up. Like, the percentages were all wrong. People were like, I opened 10 packs, I didn't get my Tom Brady. And EA came out and they were like, yeah, we fucked it up. We're going to like make adjustments. We're going to give people some free stuff. We're going to like do blah, 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 blah. And then at one point, like their servers went down, and like people went to go log into the servers, and they got like a oopsie doodle. The servers are down. You can't get in. But then came the part. All that is par for the course, right?
Yeah,
Live service,
that's a normal thing.
Blah 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 blah. But apparently, there's another part of this that is called. What the fuck is it called? Connected franchise mode. And as near as I can tell, Michael, this is like fantasy football with you and a bunch of friends.
Yeah.
And it's like you connect with your friends on whatever your network of choice is, and you can kind of do your drafts and your blah, 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 and the guy throws his touchdown, right? Whatever. Okay, anybody that logged in and got that, like, you can't log in error, apparently that you can't log in error, like, literally corrupted the data. Like, when they attempted to log in, that didn't just, like, not log you in. It's like it logged in, it tried to access your data, and then it fucked your data up.
Yeah.
And so then EA, like, comes in and starts looking at this, and apparently, I don't know if they didn't have a backup. I don't know what the fuck happened over there. But the statement they put out is like, we should be able to recover about 40% of the data that was corrupted.
Which is fucking insane.
Yes. Wow. Wowie zowie, man. Like,
That's so fucked.
how did that happen? Did you guys not have a backup? Could you revert to a backup? Like, I can't. The only thing I can think of is that it was set up in some kind of tenuous way. But apparently, like, the current Madden is just like a shit show from top to bottom. Like, bad reviews, the online stuff doesn't work. But, like, holy shit, people get mad about this fantasy football or whatever
when it comes to sports,
like,
people get real intense.
Yeah.
And this was not the group of gamers that you wanted to piss off, because this is the group of gamers that easily give you money without thinking too much about it.
Well, and they just bought one. A lot of people just buy that one game. Like,
Yeah,
that's all they buy.
Exactly. Like, they're the whales they're the sports whales. Give them a lot of money for very little work.
Yep.
And that's the one group that you don't want pissed off at you.
Yeah. Apparently, the upside is that if you just, like, didn't log in, then it's fine. Like, nothing happened. Like, you had to try to log in, and whatever that was. That's another, though, part of this where I'm just like, what kind of fucking system do you guys have where, like, not being able to log in caused online save file corruption?
That's insane to me. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, like, none of this, like, unless their server is just like a it's like a beehive with like a laptop shoved in it, like held together with sticks and fire or something. Like, how did this this is 2022 when this happened. Like, we are well beyond the point where you should be running a server that this can happen to, and at the very least, you should have backups that you could restore to. Like,
yeah, the fact that there's no backup and you're losing 60% of the people who this happened to.
Yeah,
that's unacceptable.
Yeah. So then I was reading, I don't know if it was a Twitter response or if it was just like a comment on this article. It was like, yeah, Madden really sucks, so I'm just not going to play anymore, and I'll boycott until the NFL licenses a new team to make a new football game. Wait, why are you all laughing? Wait, what's going on here?
They don't understand.
Because apparently right before this happened, the NFL signed like a 6-year extension with EA for Madden. Like, so.
Oh my God, I love that.
In 2020,
I love that so much.
They extended their exclusivity agreement by 6 years in 2020. So.
Those poor sports fans not understanding.
Sorry, you guys.
These poor bastards.
Sorry. If there's anybody who listens to RageSelect who's also a Madden fan. Oh. Let's see. In other controversial news, I don't know how to feel about this one. So Lost Ark, Lost Ark, it's kind of the online Diablo style game that's like a free-to-play game from like Korea or something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. They originally got into like, well, I don't know. This is such a controversial thing where originally like people were showing how like Tessa and I played it. We played as like a lady character, and there was like a cutscene in which she walked away, like her hips were fucking stripper going back and forth. Like
yeah, now I definitely remember.
Like
this
all
one.
the lady characters had just like shorty skirts and super high heels, and like so there were a lot of think piece articles that were written about just like. And they said, okay, well, we're going to tone it down for American audiences. Well, there's a new character that's coming to this game called the Artist that is this like very young looking girl with like a big paintbrush that does like summoning attacks or whatever. And all of her outfits are like these really, really shorty little skirts. And so apparently in the West, they're going to be putting like bike shorts on underneath there, like extending the length of her pants or whatever. And everybody's like, no,
I can't jerk off to this.
Well, I don't know how you would jerk off to a Diablo character in the first place. Like I
don't understand either.
There's a lot of pornography, and it's very easily accessible, y'all. Like
also, and the people who do that, we're just going to take those models and make porn of it anyways.
Right.
They're just going to remove the shorts and it'll be fine.
Right. So yeah, I don't entirely understand. Like, I mean, I get that. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. When you put stuff out in different arenas, like you have to make adjustments sometimes for like what the people in that arena like. Now on the other hand, I will say that like without, again, this is a tricky road, this is a tricky rope to walk, not going down that road too hard. I feel like the people that are super into Lost Ark are not the people writing think pieces about how the women have stripper boots on.
Well, that's the thing, the people that are actually playing the game are not the ones that this is for, ironically enough. And that's the reason why I understand both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
Because on one side, there are those people who would like to be able to say, hey, art and gamer is great, and then have to not hide this game in the closet when people bring it up, kind of thing. Whereas the other side is like, hey, I want the games to be what they were when they were made originally. Right. And I get that argument 100%, because there's plenty of games that I played over the years that I'm going to bring up the Dragon Ball games, of course. The Budokai Tenkaichi 3, everyone loves that game, but the Japanese version used the actual anime music for the levels, where we got like generic rock shit because
butt rock.
Yeah, because they're like, the West loves butt rock, so we're gonna put that into the levels. I'm like, no, but I want that fucking song from the actual anime. They're like, yeah, but like the other guys don't. I'm like, well, what the fuck? And so I get the argument from both sides, because I always hate when they change things for Western audiences and in like a worse ways, instead of just giving me like the cool shit that was in the actual games.
I mean, I guess the other thing that I have to say about this is I get what you're saying, is that it's also just like, it's also not like they're putting her in a burqa for the U.S. release. Like,
exactly.
Or just, I don't know. Also, again, since this is like a Diablo-style game, it's like you're real zoomed out from the character. I
can't even tell what she's wearing from here. Yeah. Kind of thing. Like,
I mean, there are cutscenes that zoom in a little bit. I don't know, man. Like, she is a very young-looking character model that's wearing a very shorty little skirt, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I get both sides of the argument, but it's just, it still comes down to like, I don't really care that much about what's going on with this. At least.
Yep. I agree. That's that's the real secret sauce of Rage. That's RageSelect's matrix dodge of all current events issues. It's just like, I just don't really care all that much. Like,
hey, they're they're putting shorts on this character. I don't care.
I don't care.
Shit, I don't care either.
All right. In other controversial news, this is really weird. So like last week or last month, a game called Sport Story came out for the Switch.
Yes.
So there was Golf Story that was like this RPG.
We did Soccer Story as well, me and you.
Oh yeah, I don't know if that was the same developer.
It wasn't, but it has that name to it.
Yeah,
and those fucking kindergartners kicked your ass.
They did.
Sons of bitches.
I didn't feel bad, because then I saw these articles that were just like, this game is fucking hard as shit.
It's really hard.
So apparently in Sports Story like came out and it was kind of panned compared to Golf Story. Like it was like not as good. But then this thing came out that there's this hidden dev room in the Switch version of Sports Story that you can get to by kind of like moving these boxes around and then kind of going out, and you have to like kind of go through these weird sections, and you get to this weird dev room, and inside of this room is like a little game company, and everybody is like talking shit to each other and talking about how bad the development of the game is in a way that I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess like if you're a programmer, you can put that stuff in here and like not tell QA where it is, and they're never gonna fucking find it because of what you have to do to get to it.
Yeah, like I love like what's great about it is that there was literally cutscene talking to each other. It's not like you have to hit everyone for them to have this conversation.
Yeah.
That when they first got in there's a large argument between 3 or 4 of them about how this is a shitty time.
Yep.
So holy shit.
And how like the writers are changing characters around, or like the programmer is like, well, we would have been on time, but like you kept adding features to the game, and now like I'm having a nervous breakdown or whatever. It's really weird. Like I recommend everybody go take a look at the video of it.
It's actually kind of like it's a refreshing, to be honest.
Yeah.
In a dark sense of humor way.
Yep. I'm wondering if somebody got fired for this, but I don't know.
Well, they're probably trying to figure out who put it in there to begin with.
Yeah.
Or whom's put them in there.
Yeah, there's a whole part where it's like a QA tester and a programmer are just like arguing with each other about whose fault a certain like thing is. Like it's really interesting.
It's fascinating. Like having a guy like be like, this game's gonna come out any day now, and somebody's like, you said that a year ago.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. It's interesting. It's
like walking into like an argument where you're like, I shouldn't be here.
Yep. It's very strange. Let's see. From there, we got news last week that Wizards of the Coast has canceled 5 D&D games.
Yes, they canceled a lot of them.
Yep.
Although one of them came out saying that, hey, we're still alive.
It's funny because like they came out on Twitter saying that, and Jason Schreier, who broke the story, was like, I think you might need to go check with the people that are in charge, because like I'm the one who wrote this story, and I know who I talked to, and I know what's going on. So
like, hey, we're hiring. I'm like, you should check, guy. Yeah,
only 15 people from Wizards of the Coast got laid off, but there were like 3 different outside studios that were making games. Apparently, it just looked like it's one of those things where it looks like a bunch of people were like, Wizards of the Coast got their eyes were too big for their stomach. They've got a bunch of these games going, like that Dark Alliance game came out that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Like, and so the Baldur's Gate 3 is obviously not one of these games.
No,
like,
of course not.
Larian is still making that.
A big time name one. So
yeah.
The rest of most of these are just like, they're clearly things that were new IP ideas.
Yeah.
For Wizards of the Coast.
Yes. And then it looks like they probably did an analysis and went like, oh, they probably looked at what the return on investment was for Dark Alliance, and then evaluated these other games and said like, none of this is going to be going to be high profile enough.
Yeah. The thing is that they're not like the Warhammer guys who just let anyone make anything. They actually seem to be more protective of their stuff more and more lately.
Yep. So yeah, pouring out for all those games that we're not going to get to play. Let's see. The good news is that. So some bad news. Good news is that IOI is making an interesting change to the Hitman franchise. All of the Hitman games are now being kind of packaged into one SKU called the World of Assassination Trilogy, or Hitman World of Assassination. And basically, what this boils down to is. So previously, because these games came out one at a time, the first one was episodic, so you could buy each level individually. Then there was DLC, and then the second one had a season pass, and it had some other stuff. And there was like buy the classic pack levels, so you can import your Hitman 1 levels into Hitman 2, and here's like this free DLC that came out, and then blah, 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 blah. Basically, everything's getting packaged up under one SKU under Hitman 3. So if you buy Hitman 3, you get Hitman 3, you get Hitman 1, all the regular Hitman 1 levels, and all the regular Hitman 2 levels. Because of the detail that is in the blog post from IOI, I believe you're also going to get the... they made an alternate campaign out of the Hitman 1 levels that was called it was like a thing with a virus. I think you're going to get that. I think you're going to get the alternate levels, the icon and stuff like that. You're going to get everything except for Haven Island, New York, the Siberian Hantu Port sniper levels, 7 Deadly Sins, and the 6 deluxe escalations from Hitman 3. So from now on, when you buy Hitman 3, you get everything but those are all going to be a $30 DLC pack.
That's interesting.
But then they're also going to be offered, unfortunately, they're going to complicate things, is that they're also going to be offered a la carte. So like the Hitman 2 DLC of Haven, New York, Siberia, and Hantu will be 1, 7 Deadly Sins is 2, and the 6 Deluxe Escalations is 3. Each one of those will be $10, and that's so that if you bought one of them, you can buy just the ones that you didn't get.
Oh.
And then if you want to buy all 3 together, it's $30. So
that's interesting.
But yeah. That's going to be, which I think is a good move, right? Because it's done. They're moving on to James Bond. So packaging it all up into one package as opposed to trying to make people buy stuff, especially because Hitman 1, that was 2016. That shit's always either free or on Game Pass or whatever. Like Hitman 3 right now is on sale for like $20 on Steam. So, go buy Hitman 3. Get all the rest of it when this happens.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep. That's a hell of a lot of game.
It is, actually, yeah. Even for $30, yeah. It's not terrible at all.
Yep.
I've seen a lot crazier shit for less.
The main game is then going to be $70. Like, this is maybe the flip side is that by packaging all 3 games together, they're basically making them into like a Game of the Year pack, and then they're basically keeping the price at full price instead of knocking it down. So it might go on sale, but because you're getting all 3 of them, it'll be a justification to keep it as a full price SKU as opposed to like...
Yeah, you're buying a trilogy, not just the one game.
Yes.
So it's like that makes more sense as to why it would cost that much.
Yep.
So...
Yep. Let's see... another interesting news. I love this story. So apparently, Vampire Survivors came out on cell phones, right?
Yes.
Apparently, the company Punkle or whatever that made Vampire Survivors tried desperately to find a mobile developer to make the mobile version of Vampire Survivors, but every single mobile company that they met with, like, really, really desperately wanted to put predatory, irritating microtransactions into Vampire Survivors. They literally couldn't find a developer that was willing to make it without putting in a bunch of microtransactions.
It's like going to a Mexican restaurant and telling them, no, I don't want chips. For the love of God,
quit
stop giving it to me.
So they said, fuck it, and they just made it themselves, which has resulted in like a very weird system. John was telling me about this, where like it's got this incredibly, like, it's because it's free to play, right? And they talk about how they didn't want there to be a like a financial hurdle to get into the game, but then they also didn't want to fill it with irritating microtransactions, so they basically just put in like optional ads. Like, you could choose to watch an ad to get a bonus, but it's not like it starts playing. You have to be like, yes, watch ad. Or you can just say, don't watch ad, and it doesn't, it's like skip after 5 seconds. You just don't watch it. It's very cute, though. Like, one of the things they talk about is how, because they just kind of did this on the fly, they're still trying to acquire hardware for testing because of all the different phones that it could be on.
Oh, okay.
In order to like figure out what the problems are with certain phones, they have to literally just go out and buy the phones themselves because they're not like mobile developers.
That is adorable.
But yeah, what a great success story for Vampire Survivors.
I'm very happy with that. I've seen a few mobile games do that for a while now. They're trying to get money that way instead of microtransactions. I was that Crash Bandicoot one that they're shutting down. That one had that option where it's like, hey, if you want this free like thing of crystals, just watch this like 30-second ad real quick.
Right.
And it was like a once a day thing. And so and I know I've seen a few others use that option too. And it's not a bad thing, to be honest. It's actually like it's a much nicer thing to do instead.
Yeah. There's only one mobile game that I want to play, and it doesn't exist, Michael.
What's that?
Well, I mean, those ads that you get on YouTube for like that game where you got to like put the little hero guy into the various like numbers, or like they had some that were like little army guys, and it's like you got to like take over these guys, and then you get a little bigger, and then you got to take over. I would play one of those, but they're all fake. And they're like you try to play that, you click on the link, and it's just like, no, this is just some bullshit. And it's like, oh, this isn't the game. You literally beat it and then switched on me. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, there's a few of those that actually look interesting, and then and then it turns out to just be
or like
a runner or something.
There's this ad over here where it's just like, this is totally a fake game of just like this person this like weird. Have you seen the ones? I love mobile game commercials though, because now since they don't actually have to make an actual game, they can just make up whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's like, have you seen the one where it's like, here's a lady and she's like laying on her couch watching TV, and then her dog is barking. There's zombies outside, so she runs outside, like chops down some wood, and then she like makes a barricade, and then like here comes the neighbor, and then we're gonna get the thing, and then it's like, and it's watching this thing. I don't know.
Well, that's that meme. That's how mafia works. Have you ever heard that meme? This was one of an old mobile ad where it was like level 1 gangster, like level 2 mobster, and like level 3 like gang leader or some shit.
Yeah,
that's how mafia works, and it always ended like that, saying that's how mafia works.
Okay.
It was just like, and it was just weird shit where it's like it's like seeing like it's like almost like Al Pacino beginning of Godfather, and then him at the end of Godfather is like the main thing or some shit.
Scarface?
No, like literally like
Al Pacino. Sorry,
because he's in Godfather.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But it was also like that too. Like him like it's like Scarface 1 or him in the beginning of Scarface.
Right.
Him at the end of Scarface. That's how mafia works. You're like, what the fuck's happening? Like just like weird shit like that.
So weird.
Like mobile game ads are fucking insane. Like you guys look up some of these, and because there are even more insane ones nowadays. Because what I'm talking about was years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, they just get weirder and weirder.
Speaking of phone games, apparently. Game Freak at one time used to make games that were not Pokemon.
Yes, they did.
And there was one that was on the 3DS that was called Pocket Card Jockey, that is a solitaire horse racing game.
Ooh.
That they put out on Apple Arcade this week. Not on the Switch, on Apple Arcade. And it's apparently like you do solitaire, and then that determines how fast your horse is, these little horse racing thing. Apparently, reading the story was fascinating, because apparently Game Freak has a thing where they'll do internal game jams, and then like if they have good ideas, they'll just do them. And apparently one of their last game jams, the people were like, I just want to play this game again. So they just kind of like remastered it real quick and then just like threw it on Apple Arcade. So
yeah, because the 3DS stuff is shutting down, so that would make sense.
Yeah. Well, apparently like they redid it. Like the horse racing parts are 3D now as opposed to little 2D horses.
That's fun.
They actually did some work on it. But yeah, crazy. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've heard Game Freak and not Pokemon game in one sentence.
It's been never since I've heard the words solitaire and horse racing together.
Yeah, I've never heard that together.
I don't know. You know what? I've got an Apple TV, and I think my Apple Arcade subscription expired, but I could buy another month, play some horse racing games.
See how it plays out.
Yeah. Let's see. In other news, we got another tease for The Last of Us multiplayer game. And apparently, Neil Druckmann was giving some interviews last week and talked about how like this multiplayer game reveal is still on the horizon for this year, which would make sense since they're doing the HBO series, right?
Yeah.
So Last of Us will kind of be back in the zeitgeist again, which I don't feel like it's been gone long enough. I wanted more time with it away.
It's never gone for very long, because it always gets brought up in some way, whether it's, of course, part 2 or the remaster,
right? Or
trailers for the show,
yep.
Or the announcements of who's in the show, or finding out that Troy Baker and I already forgot the actress's name, who plays both the actual Joel and Ellie,
right, are
in the show as different characters, that sort of thing. And you're just like, oh, well, like you there's never a time I'm not thinking of it, kind of thing, and which is annoying, because I want Naughty Dog to do other things, and we just haven't heard anything since The Last of Us 2.
Well, apparently they are doing something else, because in another interview, Druckmann talked about how basically like he wants the next Naughty Dog game to be structured like a TV show.
That's a weird statement.
Yeah, which I don't like. I actually don't like that at all.
That's like a very strange thing to say.
Please no. Like, I kind of feel like I don't want Neil Druckmann to do this anymore. Like, I want somebody else to take over, because
he should just write television at this point.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
That's what he's saying.
Well,
he's like, I played Quantum Break, and I think this is a great idea.
So apparently, like he reconfirmed that they've got like ideas for another Last of Us, which I'm like, all right, fine.
Sure, I guess.
But, because remember when there was that...
What if Ellie had a small child?
There was that update, or there was that thing in Last of Us 1 that people came across that looked like it was like concept art for something else that they might have been doing.
Oh, okay.
So it's possible they might be doing something else, but I'm just going to say, as somebody who thinks The Last of Us is fine, but gets kind of sick of it getting jammed in my face, as I'm sure people that listen to this podcast get sick of hearing about fucking like Elden Ring and the Hitman all the time.
Well,
right?
it's the thing where they're like, we want this to be the thing. We want this to be like we want this to always be the thing.
Yeah.
No matter what, and it's like, stop doing that. Like
I
like
want
when
more
Uncharted was
Uncharted.
a great thing. Yeah, when Uncharted was a great thing, there wasn't a time in between where like, and then we're gonna do Uncharted like serial or whatever, like just crazy things in between. It was just like Uncharted 1, 2, 3. The joke about whether or not they'll do a cart game, because everything prior to that had a cart game.
Sure.
As their fourth one.
Yeah.
And then when that didn't happen, the fourth one happened, and then Lost Legacy happened, and then the end.
Yeah.
And then the movie came out, and then also the end, because that movie sucks.
Also, there's a PSP game in there somewhere that we don't talk about.
The Vita one. That had a sister that we also don't talk about.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I want them to start a new franchise because the Uncharted / Last of Us has been going on since the PlayStation 3, and we are now at let me check, PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
So 2 whole console generations, and I think Naughty Dog is really is a really talented organization, and I would like to see them do the same way that I'm excited that there's going to be a new Armored Core game. Like, I don't want From Software to just make fucking Dark Souls into infinity. I want Hideo Kojima not to have to make Metal Gears. I want companies to try out different stuff, like... and I feel like they've gotten really stuck in a Last of Us rut, and the Last of Us is just so bleak for me, man. I don't enjoy it.
That's the issue.
It's not enjoyable. It's like misery porn.
Well, that's the reason why we were always fine with more, Uncharted's or more Crash Bandicoots or more Jack and Daxter stuff. They're fun. They're fun stories that we want more of. Whereas The Last of Us is like, hey, you want to see a small child get shot again? It's like, no, I don't want any of this.
do you want to see Ellie ruin her life and then switch over and play through the people whose lives she ruined? And I'm like, no, I do not.
You want to murder a dog and then play fetch with that dog?
Right.
No.
Right.
I don't want any of this.
I seriously. Anyway, speaking of TV shows, or speaking of stuff that's like a TV show, Hideo Kojima is finally getting his wish. Death Stranding is going to be a movie, apparently. Yes. It's going to be like Kojima Productions is going to be kind of part of it. Very light on the details right now.
Well, they already chose somebody, right?
There's a producer.
Or is there just a producer at the moment?
Alan Unger, is executive producer. I don't think there's been like a scriptwriter or a director attached at the moment.
I know one of the things I liked about what they said was that it wasn't going to be a direct adaptation at all, really.
Yeah,
because they wanted to just be something else, which I'm cool with.
I think that they should. I think it should make it a buddy comedy. I think it needs to be a comedy, not a super. I was just talking about misery porn. I think it should be Norman Reedus and Jonah Hill, and he's like the grizzled delivery guy, and Jonah Hill's like the Rob Schneider of
no, just don't even get Norman Reedus or anything. Just get fucking Michael Cera and Jonah Hill.
There you go.
To do a super bad Death Stranding movie.
Yeah.
Or Jonah Hill plays the voice of the BB.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. Sure.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
And Seth Rogen plays Troy Baker's role. Fuck it.
Yeah, sure.
Get Judd Apatow to make a Death Stranding movie. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Let's do this shit.
Yeah. I'm totally in there. But then you know what? Still Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Still Léa Seydoux, Guillermo del Toro, everybody else, but just like the main characters and the antagonists.
Yeah.
Like
Jason Segel and the others are the people he delivers to.
Yes.
And Paul
Conan
Rudd
O'Brien,
is there, of course.
He's in there.
Yes, Conan O'Brien is still there, by the way.
Get Jeff Keighley in there. Get all the people that he dragged in to digitize into that game.
Oh, God, I want this so bad now.
I'm just saying. Okay, all right. Well, fucking video game movies, they're never good. Which
They're
is great.
mostly not good.
A great transition into the trailer for the Gran Turismo movie, exclusive sneak peek at CES from Sony.
What is this movie even going to be about? Do we have any idea?
I know the answer to that question, and I don't think you're going to believe me when I say it out loud.
Okay, now I have to hear this.
This is based on a true story of a young guy who was obsessed with Gran Turismo and was so good at it that eventually he then tried to transition over into being an actual race car driver. Now, I don't know any of the details, but apparently, again, it is based on an actual true story of a thing that happened. That's who the kid is that's in this trailer is like...
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I actually like that a lot more than somebody being like, what if we made just Gran Turismo...
Days of Thunder, but with Gran Turismo cars.
It's like, what if we made the game mode that we have currently or something, the movie?
Yeah.
I like the idea more that it's not even actually about Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
It's about a dude who's just really into Gran Turismo.
And he's like making the transition into being
That's
an actual
a much more interesting idea than say what they did for Need for Speed, where they made like a movie that tried to be a gritty crime drama.
Also, Michael, I'm not trying to be petty bitch or anything because I'm not a fucking movie star, but did Orlando Bloom, was he in like a time acceleration capsule or something? He looks like he's 50. I don't...
he might just be 50. How old is Orlando Bloom?
Because, it's Orlando Bloom and David Harbour. He just looks like David Harbour. But, I think that, I think that this scene that's got David Harbour, walking behind a bunch of people playing Gran Turismo is in the movie. Because I think that it's, him recruiting. He's it's... You know what? You could totally write this script, right? Of just, I haven't won a championship. All these racers are dilettantes. I got to find the new talent. Somebody's like, well, you should go check out the people that played Gran Turismo. And he's like, this kid's got something. I don't know.
It's the last Starfighter, but with Gran Turismo.
Yeah. Hey, kid, how'd you like to drive for real? And then
I love that idea way more.
And then he comes on. Orlando Bloom is the fucking hotshot guy that he's got to beat. That's like the racer, and he's got setbacks.
It turns out Orlando Bloom's 45, by the way.
Okay,
so
almost 50.
So he hung out with Johnny Depp for too long and aged, apparently.
But yeah, I could see that being a movie.
That's a much better movie idea.
I could see that being a movie.
I like that. That idea is so fucking weird that I like that a lot more than an adaptation of a racing movie or something.
The only thing that gives me pause is the fact that this trailer is heavy on the only in theaters. Gotta see it in the theater. And it's come on, you guys.
Fun fact, I don't care enough about Gran Turismo to even watch it.
Yeah.
But with that idea, I will probably end up watching it eventually.
I don't know. That's a better story than you ask yourself, how the fuck are you going to make Gran Turismo into a movie? And it's that's how you do it.
That's how you do that.
Nope, that's legit. I can totally imagine how that could be a good movie.
Like I said, they made a Need for Speed movie that everyone forgot exists with Aaron Paul. That was supposed to be a crime movie, and you're
the speed.
It's not very good because everyone forgot its existence.
Yep. Let's see. We're gonna go a little faster now because
we got the Need for Speed.
We got the speed now. That was part of CES. Another part of CES was Sony announced a new accessibility controller called Leonardo.
Project
Leonardo. This is it's hard to describe. It's like a big circle with customizable buttons and then a giant joystick on one side.
Yes.
This is kind of Sony's answer to the Xbox accessibility controller. It doesn't seem like it has as many inputs. The Xbox One literally had a row of 3.5-inch jacks along the back where you could plug any custom button into any input, so you can really customize it. This one, though, has the ability to link two of these together to link them to the DualSense controller, and it has 4 3.5-inch jacks that come out of it.
Yes. And the joystick apparently extends out too from the controller.
It looks like a good, apparently, Mark Cerny didn't come up with this. Like
No.
they went and asked a bunch of people who care about accessibility, like
a lot of
what do
different
you need?
organizations that they've got a lot of input, and it's still in development.
Yeah.
So they're going to get plenty of input. This may not even be its final design.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we don't really know.
It looks, I mean, but it looks like it's adaptive, and it looks like to me, it looks like they're focusing more on the software side of things, right? Instead of giving you large hardware options, that it's more about like configuring with
Yes.
what you've got here. Xbox seemed like they were just more about like, here's a board, plug whatever you want into it. So.
Yeah, theirs is very much like the idea of building a PC idea.
Yeah.
Where this is more like the everyday gamer who doesn't really know a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great idea, to be honest, because I think that makes it slightly more accessible to the average person, at least.
Yeah. No, it looks, I mean, but it looks, it's also kind of interesting how it looks good. Like,
It's a fascinating looking controller.
like, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dong or
it
anything
does
here,
look kind
but
of like a turtle, though.
it does look like a turtle. It totally looks like a turtle.
I don't know if that's why they call it Leonardo. I want that to be the reason, but
like
I doubt it.
the Xbox one was just like a rectangle with two fucking big black pads and
It
like
looked
a
almost
D-pad
like a
on
remote,
it.
or just like a normal like remote control kind of thing. It looks like a Nintendo controller almost.
This one's got a little style to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's got this circular kind of thing where you can put a bunch of buttons and then the big joystick coming out from the side. I like it.
Like
I
it's
like
an
it.
actual controller.
Yeah.
Whereas like you said, the other one is just it's what's the word I'm looking for? Just a central port, I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes
It's
sense.
like a hub. It's like
The
a
hub,
USB
yes,
hub.
that was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
A hub.
That you could kind of put whatever you want on. So,
Sorry, I've had a long week, guys.
yeah. That's all
I
right.
couldn't come up with the word hub.
Let's see. So, yeah.
But it's very exciting because, like I said, it's still very much in development, and that could change from any bit of community development or community input.
Very true. Holy fuck, that's a lot more links. Okay.
How do you have this many more stories?
Because this is all trailers and this is all release dates,
okay.
so it's not as bad as it seems. Let's whip through here because we had some more stuff from CES. Let's see. Let's reverse these. So one of the things that happened was Nvidia announced a bunch of new stuff with their new for. It's really confusing to me that the Nvidia 4000 series cards use DLSS 3. So DLSS 3 is only available on the 4000 series RTX cards.
Those are words I understood.
Yes. But they did come out with a really interesting thing that I had never thought about before. And so, okay, we all know how the upsampling works on the NVIDIA cards, right? You know, AI fills in the pixels between. One of the things they announced that's coming out in February to both 3000 and 4000 series cards is a new feature called Super Fidelity that is made to watch 1080p videos in 4K. It literally does the upsampling on the videos to add in detail to make them 4K as opposed to 1080p. These are literally like YouTube videos. And like not only that, but they're also apparently set to like remove noise and artifacting and stuff that you might get from like digital compression. And this is just going to be like a full feature for 3000 and 4000 series cards, which is kind of crazy.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah. It reminds me how like the current NVIDIA suite has like a noise cancellation thing that's like built into the tensor cores of the 3000 series cards. But it's like doesn't have anything to do with graphics, or it's like for webcams and stuff. But
so this is like just actual videos?
Yeah, this is like YouTube videos. Let's say you have a 1080p YouTube video. You can use this plugin to essentially upsample your 1080p YouTube video to 4K.
That's amazing.
Dynamically on the fly and fill in detail that wasn't there previously.
Means all those like YouTube videos of like movies that are super old, you could probably upscale a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I've never actually had to argue about it, but like, I'm kind of in for the AI shit. Like, I kind of like the AI shit. Like, I know I know, but like, I'm kind of in for the AI shit.
There's a difference between AI like that I understand people are mad at, and then there's the AI that's like, hey, we're just taking what you've already made and making it look really nice.
Yeah.
To use less power.
Yeah.
Like that's a fascinating thing. It's not using the AI to make a game from scratch.
Sure.
That's I understand being mad about, and also insane. But
I guess I'm not as mad about that part either. So
it's mostly because it wouldn't be easy to make like a very a solid vision, I think, is my issue with it.
I think the most interesting thing about all of this DLSS stuff is the fact that it's only like 2 years old, right? Like that it's like we're still in the beginning phase.
Which is crazy, to be honest, based on the things we've seen so far.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see kind of where we end up going from here.
Who knew that Skynet came from up-resing videos instead of, war?
Right. So Nvidia announced the next set of games that are going to be getting DLSS 3 support. Some of these were like I've never encountered Warhaven before.
I've never heard of this before.
Warhaven is like it's like a chivalry. Basically, it's like a big online, but it's a little bit more like.
If you would have told me this was chivalry or For Honor, I would have believed you.
It's a little bit more bopping though. You got like people like juggling people and like gliders and like other kind of weird stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot more dynamic than I expected. Like in the beginning, it looked more like those other two games I just mentioned, but that looks a lot more insane.
And that's Nexon, and then the other one is Throne and Liberty,
also
which
never heard of
is
it.
from NCSoft. The Guild Wars.
Okay.
Guild Wars 2. And this is another like MMO, basically. Or I'm assuming, because when they're showing it, they're showing like kind of like lighting engine stuff. But then there'll be a few parts where you'll see like a guy and then a bunch of players like running around shooting a boss. So,
Okay.
These are the less interesting things. The more interesting things were one was nope, this is just the same links. Witchfire. So Witchfire is the one that's being made by like the spin-off developers that made Painkiller and Bulletstorm.
Oh, that's right. This is that one game that we had seen before.
Yep.
That we were actually, I actually am pretty excited about.
It looks great.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Like it looks like a kind of a weird like Bioshocky kind of, but like with more action. It looks like Bulletstorm, but like medieval.
Yeah.
You got like all these like powers and like shit's blowing up into all kinds of fucking polygons and rays are being traced and tokens are being funged. It's fucking crazy. Like this looks great. Like
because it's the supernatural like Bioshock medieval shooter thing.
Yeah,
I think that's really fucking cool.
Yep. And it's still no release date.
Well, that's a shame though, but it looks really cool.
But it looks great.
The more I see of it, the more actually excited I would be to actually play this.
Well, because like Painkiller, Bulletstorm, those are great. Yeah. Apparently, like part of that team left, and this is what they've been doing, and the other part stayed with People Can Fly, and they made like
that's interesting.
Or I can only assume that I don't actually know that, but like I know
makes
that
sense though.
Like, is this one of those?
Where all the cool people left?
Airship Syndicate Gunfire Games thing where like the reason that Outriders wasn't very good was because the people that said that wrote the words "I'll kill your dick" are making this game and didn't make Outriders.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I would not be surprised.
Because this looks a lot more like Bulletstorm than anything I've seen People Can Fly do in years.
Yeah,
so.
which is that's fascinating now I think about it. Because we used to talk about how excited we were for their stuff, only to be like, this thing looks okay.
Yeah.
Where this looks amazing.
This looks great. This is like we were talking about how you started Evil West. This looks like some of that Evil West.
It does.
There's some of that flying wild hog shit right here.
It's got that energy, that sweet, sweet energy.
Let's see. And then speaking of crazy shit that looks great, one of the other games getting DLSS 3 is Atomic Heart.
Man, I'm so excited for Atomic Heart.
It's funny how like we knew about this game for years, and every time I saw it, I was just like, man, this game looks fucking crazy and I want to play it. And for a long time, nobody knew what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah.
And then it finally got into the mainstream, like consciousness. And now people are like, oh yeah, that looks fucking crazy and I want to play it. So
the most Russian thing I've ever seen in my life.
This is a really good showcase for that DLSS.
Yeah, because holy shit.
Because of the lighting and then the reflections and all the energy that's going on. And
there's a lot happening on the screen.
There's all these reflective surfaces and like, this dynamic lighting and stuff. It all looks absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I really can't wait for this game. But yeah, you can go back and listen to me on podcasts like fucking 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, we talked about this. I remember the very first time we saw it, we were like, what the absolute fuck is this goddamn thing?
I want to play it.
Yeah, I was like, I can't wait. And we just kept getting trickles of information.
Yep.
And then now we finally kind of know part of the story, too, for the game.
Yep.
And I'm still confused.
I don't want to know anything. I want to go in and blast on some robots or some mutants. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I want to go in there and fucking blast.
I said it in my little article that I made where I'm just like, the one thing I know about this game is what if BioShock was Russian?
What if BioShock was like the Russian?
Yeah.
Like crazy Russian.
Just insanity.
Yeah.
Pure insanity. And I love it. I can't fucking wait. And it's going to be on Game Pass.
Yep.
Which is also amazing.
And then we also got a really brief thing for the day before with the RTX stuff turned on, which is like that weird survival zombie online game that's
that's right.
That's out there. I think it's currently in like early access or something.
I think so.
It looks so fucking boring to me.
Well, it's one of those games that people make where it's like, and then you survive with zombies and other people, I guess, and there's a lot of those lately.
What's that? It looks like State of Decay Online.
Yes.
Like that's exactly what it looks like is State of Decay Online.
Well, it reminds me of that zombie Arma. I don't even remember the name of it.
Daisy.
Yeah. It also reminds me of that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fine, I guess. Like, if you guys find an audience, good for you, but it's just not for me.
Well, I put these in totally the wrong order, Michael, because it was the perfect transition between Atomic Heart and one of the other trailers that we got over the winter break was for Stalker 2. Well, I don't know. Maybe the Stalker 2 is like...
Speaking of surviving things.
Yeah. Did you watch this trailer?
I did not, actually.
Stalker 2 trailer? It's very weird. They're talking a lot about, like, God.
That's interesting, actually, yeah.
Some real weird shit.
Did we get a release date finally?
No.
Okay.
No. This one didn't have a release date. It just has it was just the overall kind of reminding people of it. So
yeah, Stalker 2 is a fascinating game, not just because of it being delayed, but the reasons it's been delayed.
Because of war,
like a literal war is keeping this from happening, and one of the devs literally died in that war.
Yeah,
and that's fucking crazy.
It's interesting because I remember the original Stalker was so esoteric, right? And this one just looks this looks more like Metro to me.
Yeah. If you would have told me this was a Metro game, I would have believed you.
But you definitely still have the mechanic of throwing the bolts to find the anomalies.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more stalkery. So the one kind of weird thing is that when you watch this with sound, all the characters just have regular English voices and none of them really have a Russian accent. And I don't know, I guess I just kind of expected or some kind of Eastern European accent.
I think it's because they're trying to make it a more accessible idea and not trying to make it as thick. But
yeah,
but it's a little weird that way because of its roots and everything.
Yeah.
But either way works. I think.
Yeah, I'm still interested in checking it out. Looks interesting and different. Looks good. Okay. We had a 4-minute trailer for Liza P that I mentioned earlier. This is a lot of this is stuff that we've seen before, but my God, the Bloodborne.
Yeah, that was the thing we always talked about. It was that it has such a Bloodborne aesthetic.
Just the movements of the character, and the way the attacks look are just so Bloodborne. Just what if Pinocchio was Bloodborne is not a Mad Lib that I ever expected to find out, but looks great.
It looks really cool.
It looks really, really cool.
The only thing I'm worried about still is is it going to make the gameplay work though? Because one of the things about Soul games is that if the enemies don't react in a very similar way,
yeah,
you're just gonna get your ass beat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
There was that one trailer we watched where they just didn't react to certain attacks he did.
Right.
You remember? And that we were just worried about.
Well, you can see here some of the knockback happening with some of the other attacks. You could see they're interrupting. I think that I saw that one. Somebody was trying to play it, and they seemed like they were really bad at playing it. A lot of people will they'll just try to play the game like they play their character from Dark Souls, and sometimes that doesn't work with games like this. It's you have to, I mean, you can't play Bloodborne like Dark Souls. It doesn't have a shield, right?
No, yeah, you gotta learn to parry or you're fucked.
You gotta learn to parry. You gotta learn to be more aggressive. So, but yeah, it looks crazy good. I hope they put some of the other weird shit that I read in my Pinocchio.
I wouldn't be surprised. This is the place to put them. And who would have thought that we would have had just a giant chunk of Pinocchio content?
The thing is that
what's
so weird about it is that this was announced 2 or 3 years ago, and I remember looking at it being well, that's just going to be garbage. And like the more I see of it, the more I'm like, this doesn't look like garbage.
That's the thing. Yeah, when they first announced it, we're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And then the more they show it, the more I'm like, this looks really fucking nice.
Yeah, this thing at the end where these people with kind of like animal masks show up with this coffin that says liar in it. And I'm just like, okay.
Well, they got rabbit and like masks.
Two rabbits and a pig and then a bucket head.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be dog-like. I don't know. Either way, I'm kind of interested.
Yeah. I don't know. I am too. So we'll see. Let's see. We don't have time for this. There's a 10-minute One Piece video. It talked about how to play a JRPG. It's going to be a
like
JRPG.
The One Pieces, then you play the One Pieces.
It's going to be a JRPG, you guys. It's got some interesting systems.
Is
Go
it
watch.
a turn-based JRPG? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's turn-based. Like it goes into just like the overworld is going to let you switch between different characters in order to like the different characters will be able to like get to different locations for puzzle solving and things. Like they'll be able to use their powers. The turn-based combat will have like a lot of different ways to do synergy. There's a lot of like open-ended. They talk at the end how you can basically build any character into any archetype that you want. Like they're not going to be like locked into specific archetypes, and they've kind of got like a sphere grid type of thing that you can open up. Looks really good. I mean, it comes out in like 2 weeks. Apparently, I didn't put it on this thing, but by the time you read this, or maybe the day after, like the 10th, I think. Yeah, next Tuesday, a demo is coming out, and it comes out on like Friday. So
I'm always happy when they actually make JRPG type or turn-based ones for the anime games.
Yeah,
because not a lot of them happen. Dragon Ball Z only had like one or they had a chunk of them for the Famicom that I really liked, and then we only had one for the DS that was good, but they never made any sequels to it, which is a shame because it's a fun idea to have a turn-based anime game.
I'm really hoping that since we got Kakarot and that like maybe we can get an actual single player My Hero Academia game with like a written story.
I hope so,
as opposed to just an arena battler with the flimsiest of pretenses.
Like Naruto had a good chunk of those that were pretty fun. There were two on the 360 that I remember being similar to the way Kakarot is. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they kind of just went only in arena fighters after that.
I just like, goddamn man, like how hard the My Hero Academia. It's like make a character go to Hero High School, interact with your favorite people from the show, go on a side adventure that doesn't, there's a new villain in town. And
a lot of cool ideas, guys.
No, half of Class 1A is gone. You've got to get together with your own OCs and go fight. It writes itself. Like, One Punch Man, I know why that didn't work, because you want to be Saitama, but it's not fun to play as Saitama. So there was a lot of issues with that game. But My Hero Academia could make for a good single player game. Big reveal. Payday 3 is happening. Starbreeze almost bought it with what were the failed fucking things that they tried that were what was it?
I don't even remember. I didn't know they made other stuff.
Starbreeze did the Overkill's The Walking Dead.
Oh God!
And then
that was them.
Yeah, their CFO was convicted of insider trading. They ended up laying off like 60 people.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. So, but nope, they're going back to their roots. They're bringing back Payday
to make that money.
Yep. So Payday 3 will be happening at some point.
I think it would be funny if it turns out Payday 3's announcement was just them breaking into a bank. We need money, damn it.
The publisher, this is too light of a story. Arcade 1-Up has a bunch of new stuff.
Ooh.
The big things are they start out their thing with this Infinity Game Board, which is basically like a digital, like a big tablet that you can play like board games on, like virtual board games on.
Well, that's
fascinating. And they're making like a smaller version of it, so you can just put it on a table as opposed to having it be a table.
Oh, okay.
And then they show a Wheel of Fortune stand-up cabinet, a Wheel of Fortune like arcade game stand-up cabinet with like light-up stuff. But they really buried the lead on this because they're also making 3 full-sized arcade cabinets, not the ones that have the riser.
Yeah, it doesn't have a riser. It's just straight up the size.
It's a straight-up arcade cabinet, and they've got like light-up like marquees, and they've got like the game board is like angled the way they are. They're starting with Ms. Pac-Man, and Mortal Kombat
Mortal Kombat 2. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love Mortal Kombat 2.
So yeah, there you go. But yeah, they showed. I feel like they really buried the lead on that, where they started with all this horse shit that like, oh, who cares?
Well, it's supposed to be like the final reveal kind of thing. So
Right.
I guess that makes some sense. It also explains why some of those arcade cabinets they have, like the small ones, went on sale.
Yeah,
because Mortal Kombat 2's went on sale at like half cabinet or whatever.
trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's a rumor that Starfield is going to be coming out before Redfall. I closed the tab, but I remember the story.
Yeah, because I actually found out about that too. It was their support page or something went up.
Support page went up,
which is crazy early.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be coming out in the like quote unquote first half of 2023. There's actually a fair amount of rumors that have been spilling around that say that like it was mostly done like in October, November, and they just wanted to like go back and like really, really polish it up.
Yeah, we did a story on that too, didn't we?
Yeah. So that like we might be looking at like an October or like a January, February release date where there's supposed to be sometime in January, there's supposed to be an Xbox event. And it's possible that like that might be a here's the latest Starfield trailer and guess what, it's out in February type of thing.
That would make sense. Todd Howard loves doing that shit.
Yep, because remember Fallout 3, right, or Fallout 4?
Yeah, Fallout 4.
Where they announced it and then it was out like 4 months later. Or something like that.
He announced the that tablet game too that same day.
Oh, Fallout Shelter?
Yeah, he was like, that one's out now, and
right.
then you could use it for something involving Fallout 4. I can't even remember. And then he announced Fallout 4 was that year.
Yeah,
which was crazy.
Who knows?
Blew everyone's mind. I remember that because no one expected it.
We also found out maybe the Death Stranding 2. I don't know why this is like news, but they're just like Death Stranding 2 is probably not going to be out until 2024, and I'm like, that early? I would have assumed it was going to be out in 2029. But like,
if you would have told me it was going to come out in 2030, I would not have been surprised.
Like the fact that they announced it, and then people were like, "Oh, they announced Death Stranding. That means it's coming out next year," and it's like.
Why would you think that?
First time? Like,
I would
are you
never
new
think
here?
that.
But apparently, one of the artists for Death Stranding 2, a guy named Frank Aliberti, on his like ArtStation page, basically put like in his credits like Death Stranding 2, and then like releasing 2024. Like, so who knows whether that's not like ironclad or anything.
It's probably just like something he was like a guesstimate.
But honestly, that makes sense to me. We'll spend 2023 building momentum, and then it'll come out either mid or late 2024. Like,
I'm cool with that being 2024. Like you said, I was expecting 2020,000 or something.
Yeah, I'm used to having to wait a long time for these sorts of games. So
yeah, it's a really detailed. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the reason I expected it to be longer. But I guess
if it's built on the same systems,
he's gotten really good engines that he's made.
Yeah, Decima is very good.
It's a shame the Fox engine is stuck with Konami kind of thing, because that thing was really detailed.
Yep. Michael, this is a real smorgasbord for you. We got the confirmation that Spider-Man 2 is coming out this fall.
Oh yeah. I was super excited. It popped up on the wish list for the PlayStation.
Yep.
As an option.
Yep. Confirmed. Fall of 2023. So
a lot of us are wondering whether or not, though, maybe if they'll release a console for it or something, because we've not seen any special editions for any of these consoles so far.
Oh, for the new consoles.
Yeah.
I guess they've been so just like focused on getting them into people's hands that there hasn't been like.
Yeah, it's fascinating because it's been a while since we've seen something like that. The Switch still comes out with them, of course, but even then, not as much as they used to.
Where the fuck is the 4K Switch, man? Where the fuck is that hardware refresh? It's been 2 years. They just gave up eventually. Did
you hear about the rumor that they might have been working on a second Switch and then they just canceled it?
I heard that somewhere, but I was like, but why?
Yeah,
I guess
no one knows why.
Making so much money off of regular Switch. Like, who cares?
I watched the whole thing for Inside Games talking about it, and I was like, that's fucking weird.
Yeah. And then last but not least, some fun stuff. This happened before the break, but we got the release date for the NieR Automata anime. And by the time you hear this, it'll be out because it's January 7th. So at least one episode will be out, and we got an actual full trailer as opposed to a teaser showing a lot of the stuff that happens in the first hour of NieR Automata.
It looks great, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
They could have easily like half-assed some of the animation especially with the way a lot of animes we get now are these weird 3D CG things, and this actually like has a lot of solid character designs.
Yeah, there's definitely some 3D in some of the robots, but like that's fine.
I'm fine with that more. It's just when everything is just that, like Dragon's Dogma or whatever was like that,
or that apparently that new Trigun is happening this weekend too, right?
That new Trigun also has that animation style.
Have we talked about how you feel about that new Trigun?
I'm not excited.
I'm not either.
The second they're like, yeah, we're not using, Johnny Young Bosch, it's like, why? That was the one thing I was excited about, and that's the one thing you said that's not happening.
I guess I realized that.
What if he had a hipster haircut? God damn it!
It could be fine, but it's too fundamental. Like it's going to take a lot to get me over my nostalgia for the original Trigun.
Well, and there's so much character to even his hair.
Yeah,
like that's what I loved about Wolfwood, calling him Needle Noggin, because it looks like a big old toothbrush kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the point was his haircut kind of sucked, because he loved it, and then now he just has a hipster haircut, and it's like now you just look like a dude from Austin in a cosplay.
I don't know. I might give it a shot, but I'm not expecting too much.
I'll give it a shot, but I'm not expecting a lot from it either.
I actually think that this could end up being really good though, because NieR has a really good story.
It does,
but I a lot of times I get bogged down by the just kind of like the gameplay in NieR Automata was great because it was done by Platinum, but it wasn't as compelling as other gameplay goes.
Well, the issue with NieR Automata's plot is that it's interesting, but the problem is it's told to you in a very strange way. Yeah, which makes it harder to be compelling.
Yes, so I'd be more interested in this kind of. I think that it could make a very, very good anime. I'm hoping if this goes well that they'll go back and do Replicant as well.
That would be good,
because I think everybody should know the NieR stories. I don't know if they work quite as well when you're not playing the game, because there's kind of a weird
there's some disconnect,
man-machine element going on there. But
well, that's the hard thing about adapting games, is that the input that you give it gives more emotion to everything. So,
somebody recreated the Super Mario Brothers movie trailer, but with the N64 Mario sprites.
I saw this.
Did you watch it?
I did, yeah. And it's just that's really well made.
It's so weird, but then it's all ray traced.
Well, that's the thing about when people make stuff, is they make it look too much more better than it would have looked,
like this kind of blurred out background. And I think that it's fine, except when they get to the Bowser part, where Bowser's mouth is moving and they're doing this kind of squashy, stretchy animation that doesn't fit with the rigid N64 character models.
Because they still want it to be like the actual trailer, even though it's very weird to do that with some of the sequences.
I wish the lighting was a little bit more flat, but it's pretty fun. I mean, hey, somebody just the same animator, I believe, did a thing that was called Waluigi in Smash, where it was just it was this little short film of Wario and Waluigi getting passed over for Smash.
Oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah. And then eventually Waluigi just fucking steals Toad's invitation. It says Waluigi invites himself. But yeah, this is fine. I think it's.
Well, it's a fun thing because it's more the models that he's using that makes it interesting than the actual presentation of it.
Part of it for me is that it's a little weird because I don't have nostalgia for this.
I don't either.
For this chunky bad 3D. It's not charming to me because I didn't grow up with it. I grew up with sprites, and so
no, I get that, and it's funny. What's the reason I'm more enthralled by PS1 demakes than I am 64 type looking demakes, if that makes sense?
Well, because the PS1 it was so chunky that it obscured some of the crappiness, whereas these are so smooth that you could see exactly how low poly the models are.
It's weird, but I appreciate when people do stuff like this, though.
Yep. And last but not least, I saw this and I thought it was interesting. Have you seen the shit that they're making with the fucking Forge in Halo, man?
I've seen some dumb shit that I made on mine. But
somebody made Whiterun, the whole Skyrim town of Whiterun in Halo, in the Halo Forge, and it looks really good. I don't know how they're getting the geometry for these buildings and stuff, but
that's the thing. I've seen some stuff that are how did you make a Whataburger
in
Halo Forge and make it look really good? And then, like, and having the sign actually say "Whataburger"
Right.
is the other thing. Like, how did you make letters? Like, I don't know how. I haven't messed with the Forge. Is the other one thing? Like, I don't know if you saw it. Was the Fall Guys one? Have you seen that one? Somebody just made like a thing that looks like kind of like the Fall Guys levels, just like in Halo Forge, and it looks amazing.
Wow!
Somebody made Final Destination as well.
What?
It was just like, what the fuck, guy? Like, it's fascinating the stuff people make in these, and they've been remaking old Halo maps as well and making them look really good.
Great.
They made Halo Forge so detailed that it blows my mind. And it's super easy to get these maps too.
It's kind of an interesting solution, right? Because no, you're not going to make maps, but you're going to give the community stuff that they could just go berserk, and then they went berserk, and like, okay, cool,
yeah. So just bookmark it and go from there.
Yep.
And it's crazy, this shit people make, and you can just type in stuff. I found a Walmart on one, just crazy shit people make. I love them. I love you Halo fans so much.
Yep. And that's it. That's the show. We're back. We only went slightly over, as is our want.
As is tradition.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the first podcast of the year. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all having a good time. Yeah, Michael, tell them all the things. Tell them all the things.
How many podcasts in a row did I do at this point now? This is 5, right?
2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5.
Yeah, 5.
Maybe
New
5.
record.
I mean, you were like we were off for several weeks. Like,
but I'm
wasn't like in a row.
I'm counting it is the thing.
Okay,
it counts.
Okay,
new record, guys. I'm now part of the SNL club. We're hosting 5 times.
Well, you don't want to count the records too hard, because at the beginning of RageSelect, Jason Murphy did the podcast every week. There was no switching.
I never said it was a new record for the RageSelect itself. I mean, it's a new record for me.
For you. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
That's what I was saying. You're going crazy.
I'm going crazy.
No one can beat Jason's thing. I would not even going to try to beat Jason's record on that.
I don't know. Actually, John might have already beaten Jason's record, because him and I just did the podcast every week for like 4 years straight.
That sounds right.
Like, we didn't ever swap. It was just John and I. Like, it was just that.
That sounds right.
Why do you think John's not here anymore, y'all?
He's mostly not here. He's here in spirit.
He's here for Elden.
He's also alive.
Yes.
Again, Wade Boggs is very much alive. No, yes. You can.
It's late. All right.
You can find me on oneofus.net. I recently had a review for the new Tom Hanks film, A Man Called Otto, which is a remake, apparently. I didn't realize that, of a Swedish film that's based on a book. As well as I am now one of the gaming writers for belloflostsouls.net. Jen's also there for you old RageSelect fans.
Oh, yeah.
She does a lot of cosplay articles. But yeah, they asked me to start doing it. I've been doing it for about a week now, so you guys should see those. I have about 5 of them up right now, and you'll see them every 8:30 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday.
There you go. And then, and I don't know, patreon.com/RageSelect. Patreon.com/RageSelect. Patreon.com/RageSelect.
If we get over 9,000, we'll play Dragon Ball Z Kakarot all the way through. Just letting that out there with some PS5 ones coming out soon. Come on, guys. You can do it. I believe in you.
Don't do it. 474, 475, 476, 477, 478. Yes, this is number 5.
Yeah.
I confirm.
I don't know what the name of doing it 5 times in a row is.
It's called This Podcast Is Over. That's what I call it when you do something 5 times. You say, this podcast is over.